and welcome to the very first in the brand new third season of Les Oderants. I am, as always, Dan, and I am joined by the world's greatest sniff team. Fliss, Ben, and James. Say hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, it's good to be back, isn't it? Well, I say... Yay!
Coordinated
I was really
as ever.
excited there. I'm so excited.
All right, calm down, Fliss. Calm down. Just a quick word of explanation. We wrapped up season 2 in a bit of a hurry. I won't go into all the details. It was basically a big personal fucking thing to do with me, and I was in a very bad space for quite a while. So all things are now more or less restored to karmic balance and all that jazz, and the show must go on. So we are here. It's been a couple of months. I think it's like 2 months, like I don't know, 10 weeks or something since we last recorded. I have no intention of sitting through a full 70, James. So
What? I've been waiting for this, right? I've been fucking waiting. So you are going to sit through it and you're going to love it, right?
70.
And all this hard stop at 10 o'clock. I don't even think I'm going to be done by 10 o'clock, right? So
still reading his list of 70.
Well, this is the thing. Okay, obviously, I'm not going to do that. I will pick sort of highlights, because it's like, okay, like I already see your fucking eyes glazing over when I go, oh yeah, I wore fucking Eau Sauvage again. And you're like, yeah, and like, you know, Equipage.
Well, that is
and
great. That's great news, that, James.
Antaeus and stuff. So I'll try and give you the sort of brief like notes version.
Sweet.
I would like to caveat this with that I did offer James the opportunity to do a full 14 2 weeks into the break for our Patreons, and he was like, yeah, no, I'm going to save it.
I'm going to save it.
I saved it, but now it's been fucking vetoed. I thought, oh yeah, we're gonna have a great episode all about me.
No. Thanks, Fliss. Well, I'm going to keep me powder dry, and I'm going to. So just before we get stuck into it, I did also want to just say a little word of thanks, a heartfelt word of thanks to quite a lot of our listeners. I won't name you all because I don't bother remembering names, but lots of people got in touch to offer their sort of heartfelt support and stuff, and also over the summer to sort of ask when we were coming back. And it was nice to know that there are some people out there. Whilst James is just repairing his entire microphone, I will as well tell you that there is a Les Oderants Facebook group.
Yay!
Yay!
Is
You're
there?
very... There is. Yeah.
Oh,
well done, Ben.
have I not been
Right,
invited
keep
to
up.
Do you want to be invited, Ben? I did mention it to everybody. Shall I formally invite you?
I feel someone left out.
You're fucking ridiculous.
Just answer your fucking WhatsApps over summer then.
Well,
Honestly, I had to get in touch with other people to make sure you weren't dead.
do you...
Honestly.
I mean, honestly, if it weren't for me and Fliss, like fucking, you know, chasing everything up, you guys just, I don't see how you'd ever get anything done. It's amazing.
I don't.
Ben,
that's the problem.
unaware that there, this is true. So there is a Facebook group. I don't know how you find it. You go on Facebook and you search Les Oderants, I expect, and
you do.
Nice and straightforward. And it would be lovely to have people join the Facebook group. It's I also noticed we're clocking about 1,500 downloads per episode now, which is sensational. And I think it's because people went back and they listened to our entire back catalogue whilst we were on hiatus over the summer. Which is what's boosted the numbers a little. But 1,500 is nothing to be fucking sniffed at. James, are you back now? Have you repaired your studio?
Yeah, sorry about that. It's all my wires and everything are all tangled
Crossed.
and stuff. Yeah,
it's a metaphor for life, isn't it?
Well, it is, and I think it's good that you're just saying about. I mean, again, Ben, forgive me for putting this on you, but there's always got to be the kind of flaky ones of the group and the kind of like solid ones, and it's good that we've got that balance, So sorry for all my technical difficulties. I'll get them all sorted out.
No
as soon as possible. But I mean, it should sound okay, you know. And just talking about the break, we've got a lot of adoring fans, you know, and saying that we've got 1,500, you know, regular listeners and stuff. We've got a lot of people going, oh, we're really missing it, and like really want you to come back and stuff, which, you know, means a lot.
Apart from One Star Steve. One Star Steve wrote in to say, hopefully those cunts have stopped doing this shit. But yeah, anyway.
But Ben, I've just invited you to the Facebook group, and if you are very, very good during this episode, I might approve your request.
Oh, thank you.
That's okay.
If indeed he can be asked to check Facebook. Right, so anyway, come join our Facebook group where at least 2 of Les Oderants are aware it exists, so that's good. I'm not going to talk to Fliss. She looks like she can't breathe. Right, can we talk about some fucking perfume anyway? I don't really know where to start. Fliss, you know, what have you been doing over the summer and what have you been wearing? Tell us about perfume. I know we're going to busk the second part today anyway, but, you know, what could you tell us in general?
Well, I had I guess the biggest hit, I'm going to start with the big hitter. The biggest hit of my summer was Eris's new release, Delta of Venus. And I was sent a sample and I wore it and I was pretty much blown away. And it's Antoine Lee just doing the ripest, fruitiest, greenest tropical fruit you could possibly imagine. It feels like a fiesta on your skin. It's like so party, but it's not sweet. It's fun. It's not frivolous. It smells so photorealistically like guava.
That's not a Fiesta, the Ford car.
No, it's like wiggle your hips happy.
Okay, it's not Fiesta, the Gentleman's Magazine either.
No, it's not.
It's
not. Although, if you watch me licking my wrists as the guava juice drips down them, perhaps I could pick in that.
No, my God.
But it's just delicious,
wrong.
and I really, really loved it. And yeah, and there's been a lot of hype around it on like Insta and some of the groups, and I think rightly so. I think sometimes those hype trains, you're a bit like, what? But actually, I think this is really, really deserved. I think it's excellent, and it's a bloody delight, and I've been wearing that a lot.
Nice. It sounds good.
It really is.
I can't remember what I spoke about, on the last episode, but I actually wore a few times a Antoine Lie fragrance by a very small brand called Carl Kling perfumes. And it's very modestly priced. I think it's like 80 quid or something for a 50 ml. And it's a really nice figgy sort of thing. Anton Lie does fig and kind of white woods for a brand called Carl Kling. Definitely worth checking out. I think
at the moment, I was having this chat with a couple of people during the break, but also Rich Mitch, and we were just basically saying that we think that...
Shout out to the duck.
Shout out to the duck. That we sort of thinking that he really is at the moment. He's really not just come into his own, but he's absolutely storming it in terms of his work for indie houses and the quality of the ingredients that he's using and the quality of the stuff that he's producing at the moment. You know, whether it's for Les Indomptables or Les Abstraits or for Eris, he's... irrespective of whether or not you particularly would want to buy the frag, the stuff he's producing, I think, is pretty faultless.
Yeah,
and I think he's really, really good.
I think
he's on a tip.
He's on a tip. Oh, he's on a ragger tip like SL2. You appreciate that reference, didn't
I'm
you,
a
James?
raver, yeah. I was thinking you might say something along those lines. I like that.
Yeah.
Hey, my day. That's the one, isn't it? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's a
On a
great
ragged tip. We should play that in.
Splice that in, Ben.
It definitely won't get caught up with any copyright. I wouldn't have thought these days.
No, I'd have thought that shit is absolutely fine. Excellent. Well, that sounds like a good perfume, Fliss. Anything else that you particularly want to shout out here? Something that you've been rinsing this summer?
I've been also, the other thing that I have been rinsing has been a slight surprise actually, was Amouage Figment Woman, which is, I believe it's discontinued. And I bought a 50ml at the beginning of the summer thinking that I might wear it once or twice. And I am down to my last 5ml and I've had to purchase another 100ml.
Wow.
It's just been my absolute, really classy, easy reach. And it's very soapy and clean, but it has a lot of depth to it. And there's just somebody on Insta said that there's a little bit of bog water at the bottom. It's like a vase of white flowers. But when you turn the vase upside down and you change the water, there's just that slight bit of just eek. But actually, I quite like that little tiny bit of filth. I think it gives it a bit of depth. And I'm really surprised that has also been something that I've been rinsing. And I took both of them to Paris because one has been to Paris.
Work or pleasure?
It was pleasure. I took my little boy who's 7 because last Christmas I promised him that we would go and see the Eiffel Tower, and at Easter we discovered that his passport was out of date, so I had to apply for another passport, which meant we had to go this summer. And he was just literally every morning going, "We're going to Paris today." I was like, no. And it got to literally the last week of the summer holidays. I was like, I'm going to fucking take him to Paris, haven't I? So we went to Paris and we spent pretty much every day at the Eiffel Tower because that was his happy place. And the bus from our hotel to the Eiffel Tower went past, and I'm not joking, the bus took a very circuitous route and it passed Dior, Guerlain, Galerie Lafayette, literally every single perfume shop you could think of.
Nice.
And I didn't get off once.
Really? Oh.
I'm a good mum.
You really are, aren't you?
But
But you're a very bad perfume podcaster. So swings and roundabouts.
Yeah. But those are the two things that I've been wearing an awful lot of.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, in terms of what I've been rinsing this summer, only a couple to really call out. The Thameen, really digging the new Christopher Chong vibe over at Thameen, and Fanfare is the one that I've been wearing a lot of. It's really zingy cologne with a kind of weird boozy sort of note, which I think is labelled vermouth, and it sort of does have that kind of Cinzano Bianco sort of vibe to it, but it's just stupidly good, especially in the heat. That and obviously Royal Mayfair, which is I just think such an epic fucking perfume.
I don't know anything about Thameen. I don't think I've got a single thing from those on my spreadsheet.
So okay, interesting. So Thameen London. There's a woman called Claire who is now the brand director at Electimus, and she she told me that she used to work in hotels, and she had a phone call. She's always been a perfume enthusiast, but she had a phone call one day when working for one of these super posh hotel chains about a customer wanting to design their own perfume, and could she go and talk to him. Anyway, turns out that this guy didn't want to design his own perfume. He wanted to launch a brand of perfumes, and that's how she ended up getting involved as the sort of creative director, which is proper just serendipity. And so they launched with a range, basically just the backing and ambition of this one guy, financial clout, and her sort of marketing know-how. And they launched directly into, I think, Harvey Nicks and Harrods, however long ago it was, a few years ago now. But more recently, Christopher Chong, who was previously at Amouage, after he left Amouage, he's gone to Thameen, and he's taken Thameen in a slightly different direction. I mean, I think a lot of the previous Thameen stuff was
shite.
Well, yeah.
No, it wasn't shite. It was just.
I know where you're coming from, though, because
it's better now. It's better now, I would say.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of it was
sense.
super memorable, to be honest. No. I mean, they have a few. They had a few good hits, but the new stuff under Christopher Chong, I think, is fucking special. And although they're using this fucking forsaken word elixir, they're talking about these things being elixir colognes. It's like, really?
You can't have an elixir and a cologne. It goes cologne, EDT, EDP, parfum, elixir. Surely.
Who knows? Who the fuck knows? It's a stupid word. It's just a marketing word. I mean, it's not extra.
There's no official thing.
Yeah, I think elixir just is meant to mean stronger, or special, more special.
It's sort of mysterious, isn't it?
A little bit of magic.
So it's like...
Yeah, a bit magical, bit weird, bit woo. But they are great. The Fanfare and Bohemian Infusion, I think it's called, and they are genuinely interesting riffs on the whole Freshie sort of vibe, which I think has been like, because Freshies are just dominated now by these kind of rather dull, grapefruity sort of pomelo, kind of slightly pomelo-y perfumes, and they all feel a little bit samey. And what I think they've done is they've created something genuinely quite interestingly different in that Freshie sort of market, and they're sort of simultaneously like really interesting and appealing, really interesting and sort of I suppose clever, whilst being very appealing and kind of marketable. I think he's doing fucking cool things over there. Anyway, so that one I've been rinsing.
But that's really interesting as well that you talk about Christopher Chong, because I've only recently been getting into some of the Amouage stuff, and I have to say, almost exclusively the stuff that I've really been digging has been the stuff when he was director, and the newer stuff, although it's nice, I'm less interested in. There's something about what he does in terms of where he pushes things that I'm curious about, because I mean, even Amouage is relatively new for me because I'm such a vintage whore. But the stuff that I've been enjoying, like Figment, are all discontinued things from when he was at the helm.
Well, I will definitely talk later about King Blue, which is a new Amouage one. So I definitely want to talk about that. But James, have you been rinsing anything in particular over the summer, or have you just been doing your usual like fucking thousands and thousands of different things?
I just thousands and thousands of different things. I kind of suck as a perfume podcaster as well, myself. Not saying
well, all four of us do in our own unique shitness. But
we're selling this new season.
Well, no, I think and again, it's not because I'm not like passionate about perfume at the moment. It's just that like haven't really got the time to like put into it to really like explore things, but I still love it. There's like a core like love that will like never go away, and it's just I've been enjoying a lot of stuff that really like yes, I can go and like explore like new things, and I have bought some samples of new stuff, and it just hasn't really excited me to the point where I have not even really bothered to talk about it. My kind of Instagram's gone a bit like lax, and I've just sort of not really done much. So kind of a bit shit really. I don't know. So I mean, the disappointment, the sort of palpable disappointment of the fans to hear that there's no full 14 when there's actually a full fucking lot. But Dan says I'm not allowed to do it. So
well, you can't do 70.
Well, I mean, let's see. Right? Okay. So the first week after I went, and this will be notes, right? So the first week I went away on holiday, and I took like samples with me. So I'll just rinse through them quickly, right? What they are. So I took Santa Marina Novella Melagrano, which we all love, and I wore on the plane. Amazing. Then because I thought, what am I kind of wearing on a plane that won't annoy me and stuff, and so I wore that. Great. Then I wore Osmanth Yunnan because I'd said just before. We did the last episode that we never actually published.
It's a Hermescence thing.
Yeah, it's Hermescence. Okay. And yeah, so basically, just to go back even further, so I don't know if I mentioned this on the one that we didn't put out. It's confusing now. So there's even more. So there's like
we did
84.
Put it out on the Patreon.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so it did go out on the Patreon. But anyway, I was talking about things like Les Indemodables Patchouli Noisette, which is a new one. Artemique Shower and Smoke. And
Shower and Smoke.
Shower and Smoke.
That sounds good. I mean, it sounds like a great concept.
Do you know what, Dan? You love it, I think.
Really?
Because it's very... I don't know, like the best way to describe it. It's quite Italian in style. So imagine like a slightly soapy, smoky thing like you might expect. And it's kind of a vetiver based sort of perfume, but it's very but I don't know, sort of designery friendly. Do you know what I mean? Like it's a total coming from, you know, a really niche sort of brand and stuff, but I think you'd very much like it. So I would check that out. Oh, and it's on Sanselier, so that's a brand that Brooke stocks. So
cool.
Check it out. So anyway, so I bought a load of Hermes, those little travel ones when I went to Amsterdam. I went to the little Hermes thing in the airport and bought those, and so I've been wearing those. And I wore so I've been wearing loads of those. What have I put that were highlights? Silver Oud by Amouage, which I got a sample of, which I would say is just a big, chunky, massive, like resin, like oud-ish, like accord, you know, but clearly sort of, you know, synthetic and stuff. It doesn't really smell like oud, but it smells like everything in the world ever in a perfume. And at first I go, yeah, I quite like that, but it's not doing a great deal for me in terms of that. But then you just wear it and it's so thick, and it's like those like new ones that they've done, you know, the higher concentrations and stuff. And there's just so much to it, and it just evolves throughout the day, and it's so like powerful, and there's just like things that come out of it. And at first you go, oh yeah, this is a kind of, like I say, that sort of overly opulent, like dense thing that you've smelled a million times before, but the way it kind of almost like strips off those kind of layers and you get other stuff coming out, just brilliant. Like I can't fault it. It's a great perfume. It's what's the face in it?
Cecile
Zarokian. Yeah,
I found it incredibly ashy. Like it sort of had this sort of almost like, you know, incinerated wood sort of texture to it, and it was almost a bit much for me. What will be really interesting is to see what you think of King Blue, because my view of King Blue is that it's a much more wearable, tidied up version of Silver Oud. I thought Silver Oud ultimately was just not wearable for me because it's too hard.
Well, one thing that did happen when I was on holiday, I took a sample of Paco Rabanne Invictus, which I bought at the time when it came out, and I gave it to my friend because it was one of those things, we've talked about this before. It was a collaboration of loads of really good perfumers. Yes, okay, it's kind of schlocky fucking, you know, boots shite, and ultimately loads of people were wearing it, and it started to do my head in. I was smelling it everywhere, but the actual initial sort of concept, I was like, it's not bad, you know. I sort of liked it, but again, I gave it away to a friend because I was like, what am I doing buying this fucking stupid like little trophy cup, bloody stupid perfume.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It feels embarrassing to even like it, but it's pleasant.
Well, it is, and when it first came out, so forget any of these flankers that everyone started going on about and the Aqua one and all this shit. This was long before that. It was just when it came out, I tried it straight away and bought it, and then I kind of regretted it because I was like, I should be buying cooler shit than that. But that's a stupid attitude. But anyway, then I've returned to it.
Better.
Well, that is kind of it. But then I returned to it, and thought, no, actually, you know what? I'm going to try it. And it's awful. Like, it is
really?
awful. Yeah, it's rubbish. So, like, I was right to give it away. Then, what else did I wear that I've enjoyed? Oh, and then
I thought there was gonna be like a revelation there that actually you've fallen in love with it again, and
No.
you've overlooked its stupid naff design, and shit.
No, shit. So then I wore one of the most rewarding things was when we were coming home. I kind of thought, right, I'm not going to wear anything, and I'm actually going to, because I hate that tackiness. I would never go out and think, I'm going to try some perfumes today. I'm going to spray some on in the shop. This is something we've never really spoken about, but I wouldn't stand there and like spray it on my neck and stuff in a shop, right? Because I'd feel like a dickhead, right?
Oh,
What?
I do it all the time.
I wouldn't do that. I'd just spray it like on my hand or on a strip or something, or I wouldn't go in and put it on. No, I'm not like slagging anyone off who would, but
Well, I hope not. It's like standard practice.
Yeah, but how many times do you go out not wearing perfume?
If I'm going to London and I'm going into St Pancras, I will take decants with me to wear when I get to work, hoping that I will get there with enough time to walk past Chanel and spray what the fuck I want on.
Yeah, but that's you. What normal person like has it now? But you know what I mean? Like, no, but we will plot for that stuff, but most people wouldn't. And I'm kind of trying to be like, well, I would wake up in the morning and put perfume on, even if I'm going to try it. I'd still do it. I wouldn't spray it on in the shop. I'm not saying it's tacky. I'm saying it just feels wrong for me to do it. But I did it in the airport, and I put on Must de Cartier because that's a perfume that I love and I always go on about and banged on about for years. Never had a bottle. Probably like won't get a bottle because I'm just a fool. But what a great perfume that is. It's like chocolatey, like kind of, what a beautiful, amazing perfume that is. And that's even like the modern formulation. What does everyone think of Must de Cartier? Do you know it? Do you like it? It's the women's one as well. There is a men's one, but it's quite rare. I think you've got it, Dan, haven't you? The men's one.
Is it the one that came in like the quite squat sort of like oval shaped like tube? Yeah. I used to have a bottle when I was a kid. I haven't actually had it. I've sort of kept a beady eye out for it. But my mum bought me a bottle of that once. I think it was the green bottle with like a red cap, maybe. I don't know whether that was
maybe.
I don't know. I'll have to look that one up. But I don't honestly know it.
Your mum has a lot to answer for your fragrance enthusiasm, doesn't she?
Well,
she bought a lot of perfume when you were younger, I noticed.
I guess, yeah. I mean, I think probably a lot of that was me asking her to buy me stuff rather than kind of her just buying it because she thought I'd like it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Certainly Egoiste Platinum. I remember the Cartier. I'm trying to think. I can't remember many others. I think by the time I got to about 18, I was buying my own.
Oh, okay.
So,
it's just, I just noticed it with a couple of stories now, like, my mum bought me this or whatever, and I just thought, like... Oh.
Well, it's a Christmas thing, isn't it? A lot of the time I would say, like...
not for me, mate.
For Christmas.
Jewish,
okay. Hanukkah
Christmas.
Thing? I don't know.
No, we didn't do it. We just didn't do fucking presents. We did birthday presents. That was the only time of the year we got presents. I don't know.
What do you do on Hanukkah then? Do you just put those little like candle things?
Something to do with candles, yeah. I don't really know. I'm what you might call culturally Jewish rather than
practicing Jew. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So just to talk about mums, in that same week, you'll could get into a punch up with my mum, Dan. That'd be interesting. She hated
I don't want to get into a punch up with your mum.
Well, dude, you haven't heard what she said yet. She basically said that Iris Nazarena was vile and it was like disgusting and what the hell am I wearing, etc. And I think she was in a bit of a mood and she was just kind of excited. I was like, are you for real? Like, are you serious about this? She's
Are you
I
fucking
can't."
joking?
Almost to the point where she was like nearly getting out of the car. I was like, well, you can get out of the fucking car if you want.
Yeah,
You know what I
can
mean? You're
fuck
slagging
right
off
off,
Iris
Mum.
Nazarena. Yeah.
How
So
dare
anyway,
you.
so that happened. What else? I had a kind of moment with Nikolai's Patchouli Intense, which I usually I bought and I have a weird relationship with. Strange perfume,
I
not
don't like
great,
it.
but I enjoyed it on this particular day. I don't like it either, but I enjoyed it on this particular day.
It's very, very tenacious, that stuff. I remember wearing it on a hot day, and it was a terrible mistake.
It's madness.
We were doing one of those like outdoor like fruit picking things, you know, where you pay to they give you a punnet and you go and fill it up, and it was fucking boiling, and the kids were doing my head in. And I'd made the mistake of putting like 10 sprays of this bloody Patchouli Intense on, and it just left me feeling sort of slightly sick by the end of the day. I was like, oh, I don't like perfume anymore.
It can do that to you, and I completely understand, because I kind of was fascinated by it and thought, oh wow, this is a kind of incense heavy, like really woody take on patchouli, but it's just too much. It's nuts.
Weirdly lavendery to me.
Yeah, it's lavendery. Yeah, I would say that as well. Yeah, kind of dry, sort of brushy, kind of lavendery, but like, Christ, it's just nuts. Then I love Cheruti 1881 Man, and Jenny was going, oh, I love that as well. So I put a little note next to that saying that we both love that. I wore Eris Scorpio Rising actually at some point. What else did I wear? Just stupid stuff, the usual Anteos Bijon for men.
Bijon for men, the donut shaped bottle.
Yeah. If you don't stick your finger through it and go, then you're not. Yeah, you're not human. Do you know what I mean?
What sort of person would not do that?
I know. So yeah, basically, then I wore Salome, which we all love. Then
I don't know that I love it.
You wore that in the hot?
Yeah,
in the
super hot. It was amazing.
Fucking hell, mate.
I know. It was amazing as well. I really.
Salome basically is the closest you're going to get to an indie scent by Theo Fennell, Dan.
Okay. I mean, I have tried it once, but I don't remember.
I mean, if you've got one, you don't need both, basically.
I got loads of like ionones from it. I got like, do you know, Aromatics Elixir?
Oh, Clinique.
Yeah, it started to like have those kind of vibes, because you think, oh yeah, it's this cumin, like it's like a Theo Fennell or a Rock-Ass Femme or something like. You know what I mean? It's along those kind of like lines, but it also has this like ionone like thing that I didn't realize. This kind of like violety, like dry woody kind of thing to it as well, which came out in the heat really a lot. Then what did I wear? I wore another Artemique. So this one was jasmine something, and it was a very good jasmine, but it had a really nice like sandalwood and kind of cedar base in it, which I've sort of mentioned. Oh my God, I told you about this one. This is the revelation. This is the one that is my revelation of the summer break. This is Healy Cologne Officinale. Has anyone tried that?
No, but bizarrely, I literally have some on my desk.
Spray it right now. Spray it right now. Spray it right now.
Fucking hell, look at that.
Fucking hell.
That's being a good podcast.
Serendipitous is that?
Good,
no, you've got everything. Though.
I've got my gold stars back again, haven't I? Yeah, you could have said, and you know what? I'd probably have had that as well. I mean, I can see why you like it. It's very masculine for me. It smells very male cologne, but it's very, very fresh, very citrusy right off the bat. Bit soapy, and you can see that it's going to get it's minty now suddenly as well. Very fresh and minty. I can see this going down very well in the heat. Does it have an oak moss base? I can begin to feel a bit of something oak mossy beginning just at the very bottom of it. This is good, isn't it? It's gold stars.
It's amazing. It's amazing. I love it. I can
totally see you or somebody who's up for this kind of masculine thing wearing it. I would wear it but I don't think I would buy a bottle. I'm enjoying it right now, but
it's kind of Eau Sauvage a little bit, but it's like,
but it doesn't have that scratchiness that Eau Sauvage does.
No, it's very, it's kind of
oh, the mint is really coming through now. I like it actually.
Yeah.
Very fresh, but then it's got that little warmthy, mossy base. Just
I just fantastic perfume.
Okay,
Wonderful.
I think Healy's really underestimated as a house. I wore a couple of Healy stuff. I was rinsing my Hippie Rose, and I went through, literally, I must have gone through about 30 ml of that this summer. And I also have been rinsing Ophelia, which is a aquatic white flower, which is now discontinued. Fuck knows why they discontinued it, because it's gorgeous. And again, perfect for this heat.
Cardinal is the one that you gave. Well, I got a decant from you, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I want to know more about the house, actually. I think I need to maybe get myself a proper sample of the line, because at the moment I'm just like, occasionally coming across them and going, oh, I like it. Yeah. And this summer actually is something I might even have written in my notes. Healy. Underrated
just
house.
Healy.
I wrote
have you tried it, Dan?
Underrated house.
Have you tried it? Because I think you
haven't.
really like it.
Remind me, it's Healy Cologne something?
It's called Cologne Officinale.
Cool.
Or Officinale or something. So yeah, I definitely recommend trying it. I mean, I think it's pretty reasonably priced, and I'm not saying, you're some kind of like baller or anything, but you could blind buy it, and I almost guarantee that you'll love it, because it's that like fresh cologne thing, but it's got some real substance to it. And it's just fantastic. Then the next day, so this is where I'm hitting the new samples that I got. Ombre Magique by Mizenzir. Do you know what's his name's brand? Alberto Morillas. Yeah, it is his brand. Yeah, and which a lot of people go, oh, they're just rubbish and blah 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 and whatever. I actually quite like some of them, and I'm kind of like, okay, he's got his own brand and whatever. Yeah, this is like the latest one. Yeah, this is the latest one, and it's not decent.
Oh, really?
It just kind of smells like this amberwoody kind of like I wanted to really like it, but I just thought, you're not really pushing any sort of boundaries or like doing anything really interesting for a niche brand, and I mean, it's okay, but it's not great.
I smelt some of his stuff for Gucci as I was going through the airport. Not to Paris, actually, to somewhere else. But I was a bit disappointed with them. It was let me just find it. I think it was the Gucci Midnight Stroll.
Oh, that one.
I like that.
I like that
line. I had a couple of that line, and I was so I did a Midnight Stroll, which was nice and smoky, but I felt like it smelled like Trudon Revolution. It smelled like a load of that house that you love, Ben. It just didn't feel like it was pushing anything that hadn't been done already.
Yeah.
I tried a Winter's Melody, which is piney goodness for the initial spray, and then there was just this really deep synthetic Ambrox base that kicked in really early and just didn't fuck off. And I thought it was a bit sad for something so expensive. And there was another two that I tried, which I didn't even bother to write down because I was so bored of them. And I was a bit sad that things that come in such a gorgeous bottle, I was like, oh,
I love that range, the apothecary sort of look with the painted sort of
Well,
things.
Apparently
they're gorgeous, but I just didn't think that the substance, what was inside them, I didn't find it one of them that I liked. And there must be one that I would like, but I couldn't find it. Apparently,
according to where I get all my news from, which could be, totally inaccurate.
GB
from,
News,
Rich Mitch. So he said that they're being discontinued.
Really? That doesn't surprise me.
I don't think that would surprise me. Yeah.
No, it didn't surprise me either. I thought, oh, right, okay, I'm surprised they haven't already been
They're
discontinued.
very expensive. The retail price for those is silly. I thought they were all pretty average. There was one that I really liked the scent of, which I tracked down like a bottle for like £100 on eBay or something. But it was just so weak as well. And I don't... It doesn't matter if perfume is weak if it's like, part of that style of perfume. I sort of expect colognes to be sort of weak and fleeting and stuff, but this was like a sort of cedar woody sort of thing. You expect that to have some fucking oomph, and it was gone.
I don't mind if something's weak if it's exquisite for the hour that you get to wear it, if it's utterly transporting and beautiful, and then it's fleeting. And I some of the early Gouttals I think are very weak in that respect, and you wear them for literally an hour or two, but they're gorgeous for that hour or two. But that line, I mean, like I said, I stood in front of the whole shebang in the airport, and I spent a good half hour trying to find something that I liked, and I couldn't. And I was really sad. That said, have started following Mr. Marillis on Instagram, and he's a little cutie pot.
Yeah, he is.
I do love his little suits.
Yeah.
He's a very dapper
I do
gent.
like his Instagram.
I'm low-key in love with his dapperness, but I just wish he'd put as much care into his perfumes as he does into his
cravat.
The way he dresses. Yeah, his cravat and his little bee.
One does not have time to put care into things when you're pumping out 500 of them a year.
Fucking, that guy is vomiting out perfume, at some rate, some fucking rate.
But he's obviously very charming and lovely, which is why I'm low-key in love with him.
Yes,
but I just
very nice guy. He's a very nice
guy.
man. Yeah. Very lovely guy. Okay, good. James, how many more?
Okay, so I wore clean suede as well, which is the new État Libre d'Orange.
Eldo. How is it?
No, it's boring. It's okay. I mean, it's a suede.
I thought Eldo's whole raison d'etre was to not be boring, though.
They've started being boring.
That was once upon a time, I think.
They've been boring, yeah. They've been boring for a while now. I'm sorry. I used to adore them, and now, well, can't be bothered anymore. They're a bit l'artisan in that way, I think. They started, they had that the big push, when niche wasn't really niche. L'artisan and Eldo, they were all doing this really fucking cool shit, and they've both just taken their foot off the accelerator,
off the cool shit-o-meter
number. Yeah.
So it's not even really worth talking about. I mean, it's a kind of it's just a really nondescript, okay leather perfume with a little bit of that kind of salty, weird pickle woodiness of like a Santal. Yeah, you know what I mean. That like pickly thing of like Santal 33-ish, but it just touches on it for a moment. But it's generally a leather accord.
I fucking hate Santal 33, by the way. I hate
so
it
do I.
so much.
It's awful. And then I'm just flicking through it. They're all like Chanel and YSL Jazz. Yeah, I love that. And I put a big love sign saying every fucking time, because every time that is a brilliant perfume. What else? Yeah, Grey Vetiver, Equipage, Timbuktu, blah blah. I also put Juliet Has a Gun Anyway. To put a little note by it saying it's kind of like a Sheeper with all the love taken out, which is true, because it's kind of like, I would
say that about all of her.
Well, they are a bit like that, but I kind of like some of that minimal like style of some of those. I know, but and Anyway, I think you might like Anyway. Do you know what I mean? Because you would just go, okay, this is like there's loads of stuff missing out of this that would make it into an amazing like Theophano or something.
Why would I wear that when I could just wear something with all the stuff that's not missing?
Well, because you might want to wear the thing. This is what I mean. You might want to wear the thing with the stuff missing sometimes. Do you not?
No,
I do.
I don't.
Well, let's call the whole thing off then. Fine.
Yeah.
So,
I like my stuff not to be missing. Truth be told, I like stuff to be present.
No, but sometimes it's kind of omitted as like negative space in the composition.
Yeah.
It's not. It's supposed to be. It's like an artistic. We were talking about Rothko's the other day with Barbara on the.
Rothko's got nothing missing. It's deeply thoughtful, exquisitely created pieces of art.
No, but some people
it's not
think
just like
that it
shoved
has.
out with like 2 aroma chemicals and can be asked to do anything else.
No, but some people think that it has, or that kind of white on white sort of like approach thing. I don't think we're going to agree on this, but anyway,
no, we're not.
I will Moonlight.
Jesus, wow. That was a very abrupt. Moonlight in Chiang Mai. Chiang Mai.
Yeah.
That is a Decita. Yes,
yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, I like that. Okay, it's all boring stuff. Bogart, Poirot, fucking Santal Majuscule, Toy Boy. Yeah, we spoke about all of these. What else? What? Anything good? Passion de Cartier. Passion de Cartier is just like the best version of any of those, like Ralph Lauren Safari or Czar or any of that kind of like era stuff. That is the best one by a mile, and it had like new depths.
I don't even know
the
it.
other day when I worked.
Have to...
It's great. It's wonderful, and not the EDP that Fliss likes because that's shit. It's
I love the EDP.
The EDT actually smells like, you know, the EDP is kind of like a totally different perfume. Like it's not even the same.
Yeah, it is very different, but it's still fantastic.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What else did I wear? I'm wearing Fendi Uomo today, and that I think that'll do.
Uomo.
Yeah.
Wow, that is like that is a very brisk canter through what would have actually been a list of something like 70 or 80 perfumes.
It would have been a nightmare. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Well, I'm glad I forbade. You forbade?
Yeah, forbade. I think is actually a word.
You forbade.
Forbade. Foreboding. Yes, I think I'm having a stroke. Excuse me. Anyway, right. Ben, you've been awful quiet. So you know, just tell me something exciting. Tell me something good.
All right.
Like, what have you been obsessively wearing?
Yeah, so I'll leave some of the cooler stuff, that like the new release stuff, for part 2, right? But like the stuff that I've been like really into, especially the last week where it's been hot. So just before the break, like our summer holiday, I picked up a bottle of white Hinoki Amarud.
Love it.
That's been cracking.
I love that
summer.
one.
It was a good timing.
Yeah, it is a superb perfume.
Really bright, much more feminine than I was expecting, actually, because I'd smelled it before, but hadn't thought, like, I think I was thinking of... So I had a decant of it, but I think maybe it was either mislabeled or not the same thing, because the bottle that I got was nothing like the decant I had. And I was really shocked, actually, how different it was. And yeah, or taste changed, I don't know, but it just felt very feminine to me. But bloody lovely.
People have said that. I mean, I'm very comfortable with it. I think it's great. It's just sort of fizzy, gingery, woodsy sort of thing. But I think it's a superb perfume.
Yeah, really
fun.
Bright, and it it's like just uplifting. Do you know? Like it makes you feel happy.
A friend of mine played a trick on me with that perfume, and Claire. And for people who know her, it's Claire LH. But Claire came to a meetup in Manchester, and I'd spent like several weeks prior to this meetup extolling the fucking virtues of white Hinoki as a perfume, and she gave me an unlabeled decant and asked me to sort of tell her what I thought of this, and it's like, yeah, no, I recognise. Oh, that's white Hinoki. So, oh, right, yeah, I wasn't sure whether you'd get it. Oh, really? She's literally trying to fucking trip me up. I think that's extremely...
I love Claire.
Well, I went right off her at that point, cheeky Claire. No, she's super, but yeah, that was, I thought, desperately devious, cheeky Claire.
But that's the deviousness I love about her, to be fair.
Yeah. Oh, look, I've got a fly in my wine. That's nice. Good.
Adds a bit of body.
I'm sure it'll probably be all right. So what else, apart from the Amarud?
Yes, I went on a bit of a peach bender, and the one that I settled on, I think, that I ended up wearing a lot of was Desita Anam Cara, which
Anam Cara
is really fucking good. And it made me just think, do you know what? If I think I can happily sell everything I've got and just buy about 4 or 5 Desita perfumes and just be happy, like for at least a week, and then
yeah, for a short period of time.
Yeah, but
which one's that, Ben?
Anam Cara. So it's on the picture of it, it's got like a couple of like budgies sitting next to each other, and it's sort of white.
Are they budgies?
Still birds. I don't know. There's probably something more luxury than budgies. I don't
more
know.
exotic than that. Yeah.
But
budgies. He's deceited. Like, yes, can we have some budgies? On
couple of grandma's budgies on the front. But it's sort of like a white floral with peach, and in many respects, like, I suppose not really anything like shocking. You know, a bit of vanilla, a bit of rose, a bit of jasmine, sort of a bit of an orangey peachy start. But it's just, I don't know. It's just, there was just something about it. It's quite quiet, but at the same time, like, really fucking good. It just felt quite introspective and nice, and like really like something you can really get into as well. And it gives you the opportunity because it stays forever. But it's really good. So I like that. That was like, so I had a bit of a peach bender, but that was the one that I ended up settling on and really getting into. And I haven't bought it yet, but I will.
Just on the subject of peach benders, which sounds...
I love the idea of a peach
weird.
Bender.
Yeah.
I tell you, because it's like peach is all like this little soft thing, and a bender's like for, you know.
Yeah, it sounds like a drink you'd order in a specialist nightclub, a peach bender. But anyway, I bought a peachy perfume, which I bought Fath Iris.
You bought
the Iris Fath, Iris de Fath. Iris de Fath Eau de Parfum, which is like their sort of retread. Now, I don't imagine this smells a great deal like the original Iris Gris or whatever it's called. It was pleasant enough, but it was super peachy and a bit irisy, very powdery, extremely feminine, and I didn't like it really at all. Not very nice. Very disappointed with that purchase. So I sold that.
Because the original, the Iri Gris that I smelt from the Osmotique, Iri Gris that I smelt from the Osmotique, was really irisy, and it had a lot of peach in it, but the irisy smelled quite iris silver misty, but then with a peach over the top. And I thought it was pretty fucking good, to be honest.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But I remember you saying on the group that you'd bought the Iris de Fath, and I looked it up on Fragrantica. Not that that's the font of all knowledge, but there was a lot of people saying that they were a bit
sort of like the pissy puddle of knowledge, isn't it?
Yeah.
But there was a lot of people just going, because
it's so easy to use though, and such a quality website. I thought that was shit. I didn't even bother reviewing it. I just sold it and was like, I've got nothing good to say about this. Sorry. What else then apart from peachy madness?
So the last thing I guess that I've been really bendering on this week, where it's been so hot, is just the Jardin collection by Hermes. But, you know, I've sort of talked about that before. But interesting, I did go for a different...
You've got quite a few of them.
I got all of them except from the newest one, and I still haven't bought it.
Hasn't got the Cynthia, have you, Ben?
I still haven't bought it or smelt it.
I would say don't, darling, because I tried it twice at the airport, and I thought it was shit.
Yeah, but that's not how... That's not how owning a collection works.
No, I know. He just wants all the pretty bottles in all the colours like a rainbow, and I do too. But... don't spray the contents of that one on yourself, because it's like two completely different frags. The first half is all sort of semi-gourmand and nutty, and the other half is like very, very, very aromatic, and it sort of breaks down between one and the other. It's like the first half I quite like, and the second half I quite like, but they don't
marry together.
Yeah.
They don't marry at all. And I was a bit annoyed. In fact, I sat on the plane and was annoyed that I'd sprayed it. And you know when they give you those little alcohol wipes before you have your dinner? I scrubbed myself.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my
days.
days.
That's pretty damning, sort of...
harsh criticism if you'd rather smell like
again,
fucking
this doesn't
bog
mean
cleaner.
anything. Because Ben might love it, and it might really complete his collection. So,
who are you?
Well, we're here, though, is it? We're not here for that, are we?
Yeah. No, who are you, and what have you done with James? You unusually reasonable guy.
No, I want. I kind of, you know, I'm a bit gutted for Ben because he wants to complete this. You know, I don't know, his collection of Hermes's, and he might really like it. I'd like to say I did.
Well, the last one was shit as well, wasn't it? The Lagoon.
I mean, he is more than welcome to buy it and then come back and make a case for it if he likes it.
Mm-hmm.
There you go, Ben.
Yeah.
I think
I'm
Fliss
not
has just
stop
given
him
you permission.
enjoying
All
it.
right.
Oh.
But God, we're not a Les Oder. We're not Les Oder kinds, are we?
Les Oder
Les
kind.
Oder sweets.
Les Oder lovely.
Les Oder cunt.
Les Oder lovelies, yeah. Oh, it's Les Oder lovelies, yeah.
Yeah, we're Les Oder cunts. That's nice. We should have called it that, shouldn't we? I think
Yeah.
Les Cunts,
really
just.
Should have a rebrand at some point.
Les cunts. Yeah. just doubling down on that whole family nature of the show. Okay.
That'll get us to the top of the Apple playlists fucking thing.
Yeah, I imagine so. Yeah, definitely. Right, so I kind of want to wrap up part one, but just before I do, I want to confess that I quite missed you guys over the summer, and I did listen to a few sort of cheeky little favourite bits over, and I think my all-time favourite clip remains James talking about the girl who smelled of shit in his car. He thought he should shat her pants. I was listening to that, so I was kind of in this really dark fucking place where every half hour I just sort of start crying spontaneously because of anyway, and I thought I'll cheer myself up a bit. I was literally sat in the car park at the gym trying to fucking summon the energy to go into the gym, feeling miserable, playing that back and just sort of simultaneously crying and laughing at myself into an absolute fucking stupor. It is one of the greatest things ever to be committed to podcast history. And for those of you...
That and sister fingering, obviously.
Yeah, probably sister fingering. I don't know, maybe we can go back to that one someday. Ben's actively shaking his head. Ben's the only one with a sister, so that's
just turns my stomach.
I've got two sisters. What are you on about?
Have you? Oh, I didn't realise.
For both hands.
Oh my god!
That's the end of
Right.
part one, isn't it?
That's it. Yeah, end of part one.
Yes, regrettably, that is the end of part one. We will be back in just a few short minutes with part two of Les Oderants. Stick with us. Hello and welcome back to part two of Les Oderants. This week we don't have any fixed agenda. What we thought we'd do is we would just have a bit of a catch up after our extended hiatus, and so there's all sorts of things that we can have a chat about. One thing I wanted to mention was my growing obsession with Celine fragrances. Also, I've learnt through trial and error to spot fake Celine fragrances. So I'm now roaming around like a vigilante on sort of secondary markets like Vinted and eBay and stuff, reporting fake products, because once you know what you're looking for, they're reasonably easy to spot.
But it's actually quite difficult, isn't it? Because Celine in general as a brand is quite like minimalist, like simple font, simple designs.
Yep.
Have it.
Yes. I mean, you are literally looking at things like texture of the box and the placement of lines on it. But if you can see the bottle, that's the giveaway, because the bottles have a I think a convex, if that's right, a sort of like curved up sort of bottom. So the bottom of the bottle essentially bulges inward and up, whereas the fakes do not. So that's quite easy to spot once you can see that. But yeah, I'm loving them.
I am quite enjoying on the groups at the moment, like at least once a day, there's just a post from Dan that says fake, and then like a link to the fake, and then you go, oh, that's nice, and then the next day, it's like really angry fake.
Yeah, right, all right. I may have got a bit carried away with this. Yeah. So yeah. But I do have now original, not fake, of both black tie and Bois dormant, which I guess means something like sleeping wood or something. But it's like this really nice. I mean, they're both quite vanilla-y, and they're both quite irisy, and to be honest, they're both quite similar, and yet they're sort of different, and I absolutely love them. And they're not even like sort of nuclear or anything like that. They're just immaculately executed, classy perfumes in lovely bottles and presentation. That is definitely the brand that has my fucking heart at the moment.
Well, I've just sprayed some Bois on me right now because Ian Dyson sent me a little sample and I haven't tried it yet. So, hi Ian, because I know he listens. We shall find out whether I like it.
Okay, good. That may well have come via me in the first place, actually, to Ian. But do tell me what you think, because I absolutely fucking love it.
It's very vanilla-y and irisy right
that's
now.
All it does.
Sweety and fluffy and cloudy,
yep.
and it just
that's
like,
it.
poof,
that's
lovely,
that's what
cloudy,
it does. That's what it does. It's vanilla-y, irisy.
Oh, but there's a pencil shaving-y cedar bit at the bottom.
I love the brand myself. I only own one of them, and I've tried two others.
Is it Rimbowed?
Or is it Night is the one I own, but I tried the Rimbo one as well, and possibly one of the other ones. But they're a brand that said, I said, look, can I get some samples, because I can't get them anywhere. I've never seen them in a shop. I don't know. And they said, no, you can buy a bottle and we'll send you a sample with it, and don't open the bottle if you don't want it, and we'll send you a return label and you just send it back to us if you don't like it, which is a great system. So nice. I was like, okay, I'll spend 300 quid, however much the bottles are. They're ridiculously expensive. But I was like, okay. And I loved nightclubbing. I loved it. So I actually ended up keeping it.
I don't have nightclubbing. I've got samples of several of the others, but
I don't necessarily know if you'd like it, because it's got quite galbanum, it's green, but maybe you would, because the whole brand, from what I can tell, like I said, I've only tried 3 perfumes, but I've heard about the other ones, is they all have deliberately this like lovely iris base to them, and you totally get that. Some of them are vanillic, some of them have got like, lavender tops and stuff and different things, but they all have this theme, and it's not just like a lazy thing, it's a definite, this is our brand and this is what we're deliberately doing. And they're so classy. They're like, it's almost to the like Chanel level of like, like the Les exclusives or whatever.
Absolutely.
And it's that kind of like, what, for them to just suddenly be a brand. I mean, I don't know anything about fashion. I'd never heard of them before, to be honest. I didn't know of them.
Well, they are a big deal. They are a big deal from a fashion perspective.
I've seen loads of like knobhead fucking rappers
Celine.
wearing like balaclava, like Celine balaclavas and shit like that, and I'm just like, what the fuck is this shit? So like,
they've moved into like kind of street fashion these days, haven't they? It's like they're quite big in that kind
balaclavas,
of roadman type vibe,
and like little man bags and stuff. I know you're into those, but I mean those kind of ones that like Scallies would wear,
cross bodies and that,
across the body and stuff, which is fine. But no, I think they're a really good brand, and it's great that there's another outlet for that kind of like snobbery, if you like. So you can go, yes, I'm just going to descend into my collection of pristine, all white, beautiful bottles of this nice stuff that I can have. So I'm totally on board with Celine. I think they're really good. Are they by Olivier Polge or something like that?
I'm sort of gay.
Possibly. They're a bit Polge-y. They seem Polge-y.
I'm not sure. I don't think they actually say who the perfumers are.
It's not
I may be wrong about that, but I thought they...
it's not on your brand.
No, exactly. I don't think they're listed, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. They have that sort of deftness that you might associate with a Polge. Not kind of, nothing brutal, no sharp edges or anything. Just
but they're an
really
LVMH brand, aren't
so,
they? Yeah, so they're owned by the Louis Vuitton.
Are they? Almost everything is. I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure it turns out they own my house and like probably fucking, the school my kids go to and stuff. They LVMH just seem to own everything in the universe.
I think that's their goal, isn't it? That's their end game. Like hoover it all up.
Yeah, between them and Jeff Bezos. I read somewhere that the chair maybe, or CEO of LVMH is like one of now the richest people in the world. It's a swinging sort of battle between him and Elon Musk. So it depends on on Musk's share price. But yeah, the LVMH are fucking enormous. But anyway, so very, very, very much enjoying Celine. And there are definitely more Celine in my future. What else did I do? I completed a house. Just thinking back to part one, Ben, where you were talking about the Jardin line, the Hermes. Well, I haven't completed a house. It's not quite true. But the Guerlain Parisians range, you know, the ones with the wooden sort of casing on them. So there's the Derby. Yeah. Well, I've now got all of them apart from one.
Is it Frenchie?
So I managed to track down. No, I've finally got. I've got Frenchie now, but I finally managed to track down Le Dandy, which is the one that had been sort of like, I don't know, just fucking avoiding me for years. And then there was the one that I don't have is one called Lame des Heroes or something, or Hero. Yeah, and apparently that is just a repackaging of the one that I didn't care for so much, which is called Coriolan, I think. Yeah.
So there's an interesting test, right? Like, so you don't care for the perfume very much, and you know that. But if you get the ability to buy it, will you?
Yes. And I was seriously considering spending £300 on a perfume that I know I don't even like just to complete the fucking collection. Why? I don't know. Because I'm an idiot.
Completely relatable.
Exactly. So, you know, just buy the fucking new Jardin one, Ben. Do your thing, mate. Just kind of complete that collection. Anyway.
But you can create dig on eBay though, Ben, because those Jardin line come up really cheaply on eBay.
They're really cheap at the moment.
You can get 100 mil for about 40 quid.
Wow.
Yeah, very bizarre. I thought when I first looked, I was like, what, is there fakes or something? Because
no one fakes them. I've never seen
rock
fake
bottom. But
yeah, they just
testament to how good it is.
Yeah, totally. You spend that 40 quid.
You do it, mate. You spend your money. So anyway, one other thing that I wanted to just talk about very briefly before I fucking stop talking myself is the new Amouage, which is called King Blue, which is a really baffling sort of name. And it's not a blue fragrance at all, really. It's quite a sort of... It's basically like a toned-down version of Silver Oud, with quite a sort of thick, like resiny sort of vanilla underneath. It's quite unusual. And I was listening to Renaud Salmon talk about this, and he said that part of the brief was to create a perfume that that from the opening, the wearer would have no idea where it was going to end up. You know, you wanted the first half of the perfume to show no clues at all as to where it was going to go later, if that sort of makes sense. I thought it was quite...
Like that Jardin line.
Yeah, although that sounds more like a fuck up with the Jardin line. This is by design. I'm totally teasing. And
also quite a challenge for an Amouage perfume, because they all tend to sort of end up roughly the same place.
They all have a sort of thick Omani sort of incense in there somewhere, and so you know there's very little to be surprised by with them, I guess. But I mean, it's very pleasant. It's much easier to work with than Silver Oud. I sort of like it. I think it will grow on me. And I did a thing with the Cologne podcast. I don't know if you guys have heard them at all. They are a couple of American guys, very enthusiastic, good lads. But I did a recording with them earlier this week. And they were asking me about bottles that I loved just because I loved the aesthetic of them. Those new Amouage bottles with the sort of matte clay sort of vibe are just fucking stunning. I mean, they are proper little works of art, and I would have, half a dozen in every room if I had the money. I just think they're nice to look at, nice things. But yeah, James in particular, I think you need to try this one. I think where Silver Oud, I think is good, but for me quite a difficult perfume. This is much easier to
do you think
to roll
that
with.
Renaud Salmon, do you think he deliberately put the blue in the name? Because you're saying that the brief involved this kind of, I want it to go on this kind of journey of like people not really knowing what's happening. Is the blue in there to deliberately throw it, or is there some kind of reason for the blue in the name?
I don't know, and I'm going to look like a fucking mug now, but I actually attended a sort of webinar thing with Amouage last week, and I know that he spoke at some length about this, but as usual, I was doing kind of half a dozen things at the same time, so I didn't fully process it. But it seemed to me like it was quite it was quite well researched, something to do with Cuba manufacturing. Right. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was basically an addendum to the Royal Tobacco stuff, where he'd done a load of research for Royal Tobacco about Cuba, and then sort of thought, oh, well, this particular artwork in Cuba, this is what sort of inspired it. And I think the blue was something to do with that. It's certainly not blue in the sense of shower jelly perfume.
And I also
Absolutely
think
no.
that's kind of largely... I don't understand why people... Well, I do, obviously, but why now they make that association where they'll always be like, oh, it must be a blue perfume because it's got blue in the name. I wouldn't necessarily have thought that, even, going back. So, people go on about it, don't they, about the blues being a thing. And I don't even think, they're that bad. They're not really... Yeah, I guess I don't really know what I'm saying.
That is where my mind went, though. When I first saw it, I was like, King Blue.
People do.
That's just going to be a blue perfume then. Yeah. And then obviously it wasn't. But yeah, that was where I first went.
Really, because it's just a colour.
No, I agreed. It's just it's just a word as well. It doesn't. If they say the word, if you use a colour in a perfume name, does that immediately tell you where it's going to end up? No, not really. But it's a good perfume, but it's not as easy and as obvious as perhaps people might expect. But then it's Amouage, they don't really do easy and obvious, do they? It's just not the house DNA. So anyway, that's exciting. Ben, what surprising nonsense have you got? I'm sure I saw you something about the new Penhaligons.
Yes, so I saw that new Penhaligons collection, which was it Potions and Remedies?
Potions and Remedies.
Potions and Remedies.
Have you been
and
remediated with a potion?
I of sorts. I've been cured of. No, I haven't been cured of obsessing over bottles because I was just. I still desperately want to like one because the bottles. Are just beautiful. So if anyone hasn't seen it, they're like apothecary bottles, like we were speaking earlier. But they even the whole concept is going on this kind of like Victorian potions and remedies, I guess. So like, but it's very tongue in cheek in that Penhaligons way as well. Like they've named them, like the names are ridiculous, like Vravavoom instead of Vavavoom, I guess, which is weird as well because it's Victorian. I don't think there was many cars going around the streets.
Why do you think it might be some kind of copyright issue with
and Liquid Love
or some shit? I don't know, like Renault or something.
Yeah, they own that. That's like totally copyrighted. What was her name in that advert? Nicole. Papa.
Papa.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
the entire generation.
I think the one that the name of the perfume that's named that sums up the whole collection in terms of to give you an idea of where it's coming from, is that what they've called one the Audacity, as in EAU, the Audacity. The first time I read it, I was like, Tay Audacity.
Is it from Yorkshire?
I understand. And then I was like, oh no, it's the Audacity. Audacity. But yeah, no. So anyway, I saw these bottles and I was like, okay, I really need to love one of these because they just look.
They do
marvelous.
look great, but I just know they're all going to smell dull as fucking dishwater.
Well, there's an interesting statement. So the first one that I tried, and the one that got me most interested was the Audacity, because a few people have posted about it and said that it smelt similar to a YSL Baby Cat. And I was like, okay, that's a kind of like vanilla-y hype fragrance, easy to like. I'll give that one a go. Fuck me, it's boring. I think it's the one that probably will do quite well because it is a vanilla-y thing. But a lot of the reviews were saying like, oh, it's vanilla and smoke and it's a bit too smoky for me. And fucking is it shit? It's vanilla. And then after about 5 minutes, the vanilla even smells very thin and like watery and dull. And it doesn't go anywhere. Yeah, and it's just a genre that's been done so much better elsewhere. If you just want something that's vanilla-y, but treads on the dark line of vanilla, I mean, it's just, it doesn't, I wouldn't even put it in the top 10 of that sort of genre of fragrances. It was very, very fucking disappointing. So that was how it started. It does get better. I don't know. Has anyone else smelled any of these?
I'll just say about the actual line, because I don't know a while ago if you remember, but I got an email from Penhaligon's or something saying, hey, do you want to we're doing like a marketing survey. We've got these ideas for new lines. Can you give your opinion on them? And I was just like, yep, okay. Keyboard warrior, here we fucking go. Right, let's see what they got. And they were terrible. One was about stately homes or something. The theme, themes for new lines. And the other was just and I was like, they're both shit. Sorry, but this is really weak and blah, blah, blah. And just basically gave my opinions. So maybe loads of other people gave their opinions like that as well, because I actually thought, what do you know, the artwork and what you showed us, Ben, okay, they've got those daft sort of tongue-in-cheek names and stuff, but that is much better than the crap that they were proposing to release. I was like, oh, actually that's quite cool. At least the concept is there and they've got some cool artwork and stuff, so at least there's that to it. And I understand why you were curious about them in the first place, because you wouldn't have been had they have done what they were proposing to do. Yeah, it was really
stately homes.
Yeah.
Yeah. With the other one that just to get the bad stuff out of the way first, the really bad stuff, because 2 of the 5, there's 5 perfumes, and say I found the Audacity very fucking dull, and A Balm of Calm starts incredible. What I will say is almost all of these perfumes, they start the first couple of minutes really well done.
Balm of Calm is quite a nice name, actually.
And it starts wonderful, right? It hits you with this cool, creamy peppermint, which is bizarre. And there's citrus and peppermint with little bits of spice underneath. And you think, fuck yes, this is interesting and different. And then that all just falls apart and it turns into this weird sort of watered down Professor Layton.
Professor
Layton. Which
Professor Burp's Bubble Works.
Oh, Professor Layton,
Nintendo.
Is that brain training?
You mean Parfums de Molly Layton?
That's what I mean. Yeah, it's almost. I mean, it's not, but that's the closest thing that I could latch it onto. Is Parfums de Molly Layton, in that sort of generic clubby wank boy kind of perfume. It just really
wank
falls
boy.
apart after the opening.
Wank boy.
Yeah, you
generic
know what I mean.
clubby.
You're gonna see him if you know Brighton, they're gonna be down West Street, getting a babby at 2:00 in the morning and having a fight.
Getting a what?
Because they've been drinking.
A babby.
A babby.
It's a northern thing. We don't say babby.
I thought you meant a baby or something.
Getting a babby.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What do you call that? Okay. Well, getting a kebab then at 2 o'clock after drinking Smirnoffs all night. Do you know, Smirnoff Ice or whatever?
Like a little baby cradling the babby.
Yeah, because you're nursing it. Yeah, because
see.
it's 2:00 in the morning and you're pissed and you're nursing it. Do you know what I mean? It's
Just
your babby.
on something you did say there,
babby.
and I hate to evoke this again, but you've said it now. That
if you say finger fucking banging your sister, I'm going to be livid.
No,
livid.
I'm not going to say that. It's worse than that, actually, to be honest.
Oh, God.
Do you remember that concept that we were talking about of like top loading? And I don't want to evoke that we talked about, but do you remember? Because you just said like obviously those perfumes are really interesting, and they're deliberately made to be like that to capture people in the shop or whatever.
I've forgotten Top Loading.
No, there's that terrible band fucking Top Loader that we talked about.
Oh God,
Dancing in the fucking Moonlight.
Yeah, Dancing in the Moonlight.
Sorry, but
top loading frags, so people buy them while they're in store.
And
very much
they don't
that way.
go anywhere.
Yeah. So anyway, that was really fucking awful as well. I wouldn't go anywhere near Balm of Calm. The opening, it's really special, and it really. But to me, it's just that just doubles down on how disappointing it gets, because when I sprayed it, I was like, "Fuck, this is interesting. Yeah, this is good." No, it all falls apart. The one I think you guys would like the most, I think, is one called A Kiss of Bliss, and it's very like typical Penhaligon's barbershop-y kind of thing. But it's all right. But it is, I think, dull sort of Penhaligons. So anyway, those three out the way, because those were the ones that I thought were a bit fucking dull. The two that I thought were really good, and one of them I think is really good. So Liquid Love is nice if you like rose perfumes, I think. It's like a spicy rose. It doesn't really change.
Isn't that a rework of their old Love Potion No. 5?
It could
Wasn't
be.
there a song about that?
number 9, I think. Is it?
No, it might have been number 9. Love Potion.
Number 9.
Number 9.
It's one of them's a rework of one of that used to be a big hitter for them, and then it was discontinued.
Could be. It's very like I can understand why it would be a popular perfume. It's just a spicy rose. But you know, these days I seem to be sniffing it quite a bit. Like people are releasing these like quite stark minimalist spicy roses that it's almost like a rejection of like the oud rose. Almost like it goes the complete opposite, where you've got this kind of like light musky rose, but there is a dark spicy element to it. I don't know if that is a thing, or if I've just smelt the right perfumes to make me feel like it's a thing. But like Diptyque came out with one a little while ago with Kyoto, I think they called it. And I smelled something since in between as well, which was almost identical. And then like Christian Dior have got like Rose Kabuki and stuff like that, which is admittedly a bit lighter, but it's still a sort of stark musk and rose kind of thing. And so now this as well, which again, it's sort of like a spicy, musky rose, but it's decent. It's if you like roses, it's possibly worth checking out anyway. But if you don't like roses,
it's not that I don't like roses.
Pass.
It's just that, you know, once you've got about 5 or 6 rose perfumes, how many more do you really need?
Yeah, and this genre is, like I say, it seems to be a thing. So, it comes across as. So this will be a theme that we'll talk about after I mention this next one. This next one, Forever Room. I really fucking like this one. This one was really good. I'm wearing it today, right? Amazing opening. It's like this citrusy, like orange, like really good, like white floral and orange opening. That's really, really good. It's almost like photorealistic citrus. Smacks you right in the face, really impressive. But then it like sort of gets into these like white florals sort of take over the citrus, which is like it's a very rindy citrus, so it's almost bitter. And then you get these white florals come out, and because they're so creamy, like they kind of counterbalance that kind of the bitterness almost of the citrus, and you get this really nice balance for ages of this kind of like white floral citrus thing. But then like the woods come out and stuff. But then as it gets like more into it, you get this ambery caramel come out as well that mixes with the white florals. And it's really nice. I really like it. I think it's actually a really interesting perfume, a really good perfume. But, and this is like, in my opinion, like the killer, like the death knell for this like whole lot, Is there £195 for 100 mil? And yeah, and I, despite how much I just sort of said how much I liked that last one, I would not pay £195 for it. Like 100 on the grey, maybe. Yeah, like that's probably what I will do. That's what they'll end up. I'm going to wait for it.
85 to £100 secondary market.
And that's what they should be. That's what they should be. Like all of these, £195. And I just think, who are you trying to kid, mate?
But
like,
I mean,
they're nice bottles, but £195.
It's always the same, though, right? And these guys have got their own investment in retail premises, so they need to sell quite a lot to cover their costs, and so they sell them for £200 to any mug who's prepared to pay retail for them. You know, some guy staggers through the front door, they spray them and spray them and spray them until they, you know, agree to buy something and leave £200 lighter. But, you know, serious perfume buyers can't afford to spend bloody £200 on a retail bottle of Penhaligon's. Just as
and they have a very specific audience as well, don't they, in terms of where they put their retail stores and stuff. You know, it's very Mayfair. There's a certain nice type of well-heeled person that probably can easily spend.
They're mostly in like fucking like discount parks though these days, aren't they? Like they're retail outlet type places.
I mean, down here, their store is like, or their shop is like in the posh area where like the jewellers and the high fashion is that area of like town.
Their rents must be extortion on that stuff as well. So I sort of get it. Just as a complete side note, I got sent a link the other day to the Penhaligon's sale, and I was looking at the prices thinking, God, these are pretty decent prices, like £60 a bottle. And I noticed that the website was penhaligons.com. Like, just like you seriously, penhaligons.com, and it's just a clone of the Penhaligons kind of branding. It's like the most obnoxiously fucking direct rip-off. They're just relying on people fucking not spotting the typo in the bloody title.
And there's a lot of fakes out for Penhaligons as well, which blows my mind how good they are as well. Like the bottles are like perfection. Even a lot of like the you know, the ones with the gold like animal heads and all that, like that collection, which you'd think would be quite tough to fake, but they're all
the bottles for these
really
new ones
like,
at the moment.
The boxes and the lids, perfect.
A bit like Grossmith. They've got the kind of like lines down. They're really nice. They're really attractive.
Yeah.
They do look good.
See,
they do.
You saying about the Penhaligon sale though, that did remind me. They do actually have some pretty good sales, like legit sales, because they sell a lot of like unboxed stuff.
Yeah,
so they'll say like unboxed sales.
Testers and stuff. They sell their testers off.
Yeah, unboxed.
Well.
That's shopping tip to anyone is when they do go into sale. If you search on their website for the word unboxed, that brings up all their top deals. But even so, it's. I don't know. I think I've only got one actual Penhaligon's. They've got a lot of perfumes that are very mediocre, and there is not a one of them that I would say is like a kind of ride or die must have kind of perfume. The one I've got is called Lothair, which is very nice, and I might dig it out tomorrow. But I paid like £40 for it or something, and
I mean, the one that I think is the most hyped on the groups is the Halfeti range, Halfeti leather, Halfeti cedar. But for me, it's not. I don't get it.
That's their cheese. Did you just say that's their cheese?
Do you know what? The branding for this new collection is awesome. Like if you go, they've got little like animated little things.
Yeah. And
I'm just on the website now, and it says "Meet the Perfumer." And it's got like our mate Biche and Beaulieu.
Oh, it's a Biche, is it?
They're all by different
so
perfumers.
you point out it is. Yes,
Dumeur, Dominique Ropion.
So they're saying who the perfumers are now, because they never used to.
Juliette,
so that's interesting.
Karaguzoglu.
Karikazoglu.
Yeah, exactly. I like that. I mean, good for Penhaligons, and it is cool. Like what they're doing in terms of that. Like if you want to kind of own a piece of that, I understand. You know, if you, it's difficult for us because it's always like, oh, don't pay the retail and all that. And I wouldn't now just because I know that stuff's going to be cheaper later on. But most people aren't privy to that, are they? Yeah. And they just go, yeah, I'll buy it in the shop or whatever. And it's a treat for them, maybe. You know, they think, oh, I'll get that. So yeah, they look cool. I'm excited.
Well, I think it makes quite a nice. They're sort of quite nice gifty type things, aren't they? You'd sort of go in there and you go, oh, I'll buy a bottle of something that I've spent 10 minutes trying a load of perfumes so that I can choose the one that I think you'll like. Here's a bottle of £200 perfume. It's like, yeah, I mean, it is quite nice, but it's sort of for the muggles. Yeah. If I can be honest.
So I bought the Discovery set, right? And it's this little box about that big, right? That's so big, about that thick. And I came out with this fucking great big heavy like Penhaligons paper bag, you know, like the big gift bag kind of thing, with all tied with a ribbon. And it cost 30 quid for 5 samples. I was like, oh fuck. But yeah, Vravavoom I like very much. Liquid Love I liked reasonably, and I think it would be popular. And do you know what? I can even see Oh the Audacity and A Kiss of Bliss being quite popular for them. I thought they were all very mediocre, apart from, say, Vravavoom, which I actually thought was really good. But on that note, I also like Legacy of Petra. I think that's really fucking good. Is that
the licorice-y sort of one? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that was sort of... Okay.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sort of not big into licorice at the moment. Don't know.
So that and Vravavoom, they're both ones that I will keep an eye out, and on an unbox sale, I'll get in there. But at their retail prices, no. But anyway, so that's what I've been sniffing. I don't know if you want to come. I've got another one, but I don't, from a totally different brand. But I don't know if we want to. I had enough of my voice.
No, I've never had enough of your voice, Ben. What else have you got there?
So Centauri, which is Peter from Fragrance View, sent me his new sample of his latest one, and wow, that's a perfume. And actually, maybe there's a lot of hype at the moment for Followed by Kerosene, isn't there?
Oh, so much hype, constant.
Don't understand
it either. All that's happened there is like someone somewhere has said this is like the strongest perfume in the known universe, and arguably they're right as well. And so it's just had a sort of bit of a resurgence, but I mean, honestly, it's fucking old news. Like, move along. Nothing to see here.
I was quite surprised by it, but because I got the original like Follow, because there's Follow and Followed, isn't there? And the original Follow this is basically remind me a little bit of Peter's new one, but Peter's new one, it's this brutal coffee and rum thing, and it's not easy to like, and it's not a simple perfume. But it's really interesting. It opens like aggressively sweet coffee with rum that is almost too much. It's like, you know, when you get those like boozy notes in perfume, but you just feel like an alcoholic. Like it's just so savagely boozy. It's like that. But then it also is very sweet at the same time. It feels like a very refined and better sort of version of. Do you remember that Luscious Joe?
Yeah, I do.
I sent out to you guys, that ganache. So if you're thinking that, like it's like that, but sort of serious. It's like a more grown-up version, but it's like it in that same way that it's super on the nose, super sweet, super boozy, like almost too much, unbearable almost. And then it like this bizarre smoke note that I've never smelt in perfume before, and I actually spoke to Peter about it, because I was like, how did you do that? Because it's just almost like claustrophobic smoke, but quite clean at the same time. And he said apparently it's like the rum ether that he used in it. He said it's just like that was, because also you can smell it turns basically very cedar, this perfume in the middle. And I said, was it the cedar? And he said, no, but it's mixed, the rum ether, the way it mixes with the cedar, it creates this like savage kind of smoke. Really fucking interesting perfume. If you like Follow, I think that you would really like this. I really like it. I think it was really, really, really good. It's quite rough in that sort of indie house way, which I really like. It's not, I wouldn't say it's refined in any way. It's quite like, it's a bit of a sledgehammer. But it's good. If you like coffee notes, if you like Follow by Kerosene, and if you like cedar in particular, it's definitely worth checking out, because it has a really rough, strong cedar in there that sort of becomes the main part of the perfume actually after about sort of like a bit of time, like 30 minutes or so. It starts becoming like overwhelmingly like this rough, unpolished cedar, very like like woodsy, outdoorsy, not sort of like finished woods. Like when you hear that, when you get those sort of rough cut sort of woods, it's like that. Very raw.
What's the house again?
Centauri. Centauri.
I've not tried any of them, but I very much like the styling of the bottle. So he's done these sort of round, kind of ornate caps on a kind of weird, almost like triangular prism sort of style bottle. Those are the right ones I'm thinking of.
That's it. Yeah, that is it. Yeah. He designed it all, I think, himself, because it's like he was a YouTuber and then it's sort of self-taught perfume, and he's done his brand in that, I think, like in a really cool way, like where he's done everything himself, which is really impressive. Like I say, it's pretty rough smelling. If you like indie houses for that reason, which I do, then you'd like it. I can see other people criticising it for being a little bit too rough, maybe. But I think it's great. I think it's really good. It's not the easiest perfume to smell. I have actually got samples for all you guys. I will send them out, and you can smell them, because he sent me samples for everyone. I've just been hoarding them. Yeah. But yeah, that's Centauri Elixir anyway. That was a really interesting one. So I'll kind of leave it there, because maybe once I sent these out, we can sort of have a quick chat about them. But I really liked it. I thought it was really good.
Cool.
Yeah, I'll send them to you.
And James, what news-wise, anything of interest over the summer? Anything that you've bought or felt that you now need to buy?
I've not bought anything. That Healy that I mentioned is probably the closest thing to me thinking, yeah, I should buy that. But again, I'm not all that excited about that from the point of view of it's not something new. And again, we've touched on this before about like, you have so many experiences and you try so many things that what is really going to be new to you now? It's all just, rehashings or like slightly different things of all the same like materials and all that kind of stuff. I'm not saying I've lost any kind of excitement with it at all, but it's very difficult the more experience you have of things to find stuff that really like floats your boat, or you go through different periods of like, I hope certain things will like stir in me again that aren't even really that interesting or whatever, do you know what I mean? But I just feel they are at that moment in time. But no.
Do you think, James, that you're in a bit of a sort of down cycle in terms of like your love and enthusiasm? Because it sort of sounds to me like
not really. It's more just I'm doing lots of other things. Like I've been playing loads of fucking tennis, man. Like just.
Really?
Of all things, right?
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean,
like to the point of like, my joints and everything. I've got fucking blue badge for the car and all that shit. To the point where I was on fucking loads of medications and stuff, and I was just like, right, I can't be arsed with this. I want to do like something. So I've just kind of become slightly obsessed with playing tennis all the time, and yeah, it's good. I really enjoy it. I was trying to think of. I don't even know what So it's not that my enthusiasm for perfume has gone at all, right? I still think about it like every day, and I think like and I think about making it every day, but I'm just like, I can't be else getting all the stuff out, because once I start that, other things are going to go on the back burner. I can't have too many things going on at once, so I've just got to kind of like at least at least doing something like physical is actually like good for you, and like rather than just sitting there.
Listen, you don't need to tell me about that. I'm obsessed with exercise, so
I vehemently disagree.
You would. Interesting. I know what you mean about this. Getting all the stuff out. Obviously that I take a lot of photos for Instagram and stuff, but I don't have a lot of space. So the space that I use to take photos is the same space that I'm talking to you from now. It's the same space that I work in during the day, and it's a small room. So every time I want to take a photo, I have to basically get everything out and set up 3 lights and screens and and it's like it's 20 minutes work just to set everything up, and then it's another 20 minutes at the end of it to take it down, plus the taking and the photos and stuff. You just think, I can't fucking
there's
be
a
arsed.
lot of
And so I found myself
there's a lot of like cogs and logistics and things behind that one image that people don't like realize. Like I kind of feel a bit like
of course,
do you ever watch Peep Show? Do you remember when Super Hans ran to fucking Windsor? He's like, I'm like a jelly. And he's just like, he gets into, because he's like quit the crack and all that, and he gets into like running. That's what and he's like, and he starts knitting. He's like, I've been knitting like a fucking electric nan, right? Which I think is fucking really funny. Like, but like, I feel.
Yeah, he lives in Brighton, and you see him around.
Oh, that guy's cool. Yeah, I bet he gets
surreal.
loads of people fucking coming up to him saying all kinds of shit. But no, like I and I don't want to be like, like flitting onto different stuff, because like it's a big like passion of mine. But I am a little bit on it's only really sort of financially as well, because it's like, what can I put like my money into? I don't want to put it into more perfume because I've got enough as it is. I'm going to have a sort out, and then I'll start to, but I'm really refining my aim now, like really refining it down to be like, there's just superfluous stuff that I just don't need. Do you know what I mean? And I want to have like that thing of like Celine, like I know that's a really good brand. I know that Hermes, and it sounds very sort of elitist and like, oh, I'm fucking everything off for all these kind of like things that people would think was like mediocre, but they like that's what makes me happy at the moment, like not necessarily seeking out indie things. I like to seek out indie things to smell them and talk about them and stuff like that, but am I really going to reach for that every day? It's like I love like Carter, like when we had Carter on and listening to his perfumes and all that kind of stuff, and I'm the passion for it and everything, I'm still interested in that. But would I necessarily wear like fucking like I don't know, one of his perfumes every day? No.
English
exactly.
Shoe Factory.
I wouldn't, so.
I had exactly this similar conversation with myself last night and this morning about price per
What, you
wear.
were just talking to yourself? That is kind of weird.
Yeah, basically.
Oh.
Well, no, I had to.
I'll listen to you.
Oh, and you didn't have the... Poor Fliss. She didn't have the odorants with her.
I didn't have the odor.
It's what you've been doing all summer, isn't it? You've been sitting there just talking to the screen.
Yeah. But I sprayed a Vogue perfume on earlier this summer, and it really captured my imagination. And I had a little bit left, and I sprayed it on again about 2 days ago. And then it came up on eBay. And I was so like, do I pull the trigger? But it was expensive. And I had to kind of really sit myself down and go, you know what, Fliss? For the amount of money that they're asking for that Vogue, and Vogue is expensive as an indie brand, and they're beautifully made and all of that lovely stuff. Smelling it now, how often are you actually going to wear it? And then you put that up against something like, I don't know, Galop de Hermes, which I bought over the summer. I bought a splitter, a refill bottle with Hayley. And I wear that. I'll wear that at least once a week.
Yeah.
And there is that feeling of, do you really, just because you love it, do you really, really need it? If you're not going to wear it very often, then does it really need to be in your collection? Because that's a lot of money just sitting in a drawer.
So the thing that sort of interests me about that is, I mean, obviously we've spent quite a lot of time on this show advocating for small brands, for indie brands, for cool people, and we talk about kind of people who have the passion for it. But I think there is just a commercial reality that a brand like Celine with their vast, deep pockets, can put a huge amount of money and time into R&D to develop these brilliant fragrances. You know, they are not sort of they're not restricted to kind of testing them on you know, a few of their mates and going, oh, I think this will be brilliant. You know, they run focus groups and they pay, you know, millions of pounds to develop these fucking perfumes. Is it a surprise that those are the perfumes that you go, oh yeah, no, that's really nice, I like that?
No, it shouldn't.
No, it's not. And I don't think there's anything bad about liking perfumes that are produced by big houses. I mean, I think, you know, we should all support indie brands as well, but I don't think there's anything intrinsically bad or to be ashamed of for enjoying fragrances from big brands.
Even the most...
I think almost they're two completely separate things. Sorry, James. But I almost see them like two separate things. Like, I obviously on this Les Oderants, I talk a lot about like stinky shit. That's
that is your jam.
Like that's kind of the kind of the area I've walked into. But I have a lot of stuff on my shelf which is just really nice shit, and I wear that a lot. You know, but I almost see like two separate, like they fulfill two very different needs for me. Like when I want to just smell nice or whatever, then okay, you pick up something like the Hermes or whatever. Like, but some mornings you wake up and you think, I'm going to be sitting at home working by myself today. I got nothing to do and nothing particularly inspiring around me, so I'm going to spray a bit of perfume that stinks like shit, and that's going to keep me, you know, interested, and it's going to sort of like light my fire in a different way. That it doesn't matter if I stink like shit, because I might open the door to Amazon, but that's about it. Like, that's what the rest of the day I'm going to be sat in front of a computer writing. You know, and so like they say, like for me, they fill two very different needs. So I feel like they coexist quite nicely. But I appreciate that my, you know, situation might be slightly different too.
But I kind of know, I agree with you, and I certainly have some very strong or very interesting or very not run of the mill indie stuff. But as you say, I wear it very much for me, and because I'm wearing it for me, and perhaps not having to think about what other people might want to think about smelling, the options for when I wear that are reduced. So it's much easier to have still beautifully made and interesting frags, but something, I don't know, something... I'm going to contradict myself now, but to say, if you think of something like Kuros, which is so stinky or whatever, there are a limited amount of times that you would wear that potentially or not. So I probably wouldn't ever need a bottle. I've got like a 10ml decant, and there's no point in me getting more because...
Need is a funny word. And I have this conversation with my wife a lot, and my view is
every time a new person comes in front
you don't need that. I mean, need got fuck all to do with this, love. This is about want. You know, if it was about need, then I wouldn't have any perfume. The reality is we're just humans. We don't need perfume. I want perfume, and that's very, very fucking different. So sometimes I look at my collection and I think, I can't really justify this because I wouldn't be able to use it all in a lifetime. And then I think, well, yeah, that's got fuck all to do with it. You know, that's a stupid measure. You know, it's about, do I want them or not? And it's when I decide that I don't want a perfume, that's when it goes. Not when I need it or don't need it, you know. An interesting example. I read. I had occasion to read a James review today, or yesterday. Dior Queer Canage, Queer Canage, which or Cure Canage, depending on where you're from. But I picked up a bottle of that, and I was smelling it. I was thinking, I don't know. I didn't really expect this. This is not what I expected based on, like, you know, the name and the notes list and stuff. It basically just a big floral kind of mess, and then with some leather. And I read. I think you've written 2 reviews on Fragrantica actually, James. Like, one's an updated one. But yeah, I sort of. I would have really liked to keep it, because I sort of like those big 250ml Dior bottles. They're lovely. But as soon as I decided that I wouldn't wear it, you know, I would literally never wear it, and I don't particularly like it, then it's going. I don't need to justify that I need it, you know. I don't need to sort of go, oh, well, you know, I'll wear it twice a month for the next 6 months, you know, so I somehow need it. There's nothing to do with that in my sort of you know, perfume collection. Need is a ridiculous sort of idea. Once you're past kind of 1 bottle of perfume, you've got all the perfume you need, quote unquote. It's all about want. And for me, I just decided I didn't want that perfume.
I don't know. I think that the need in me is like, if somebody took my perfumes away, my soul would die into a shriveled little husk. I think if you want me to be anything like nice,
well, mine already is dead and shriveled little husk, I'm afraid. So, yeah, I can't help you with that one. Sorry.
That's a bit like what I was saying about Decita earlier, though. You know, when I said, like, I feel like I could quite happily sell everything and just buy 4 or 5 Decita perfumes, and that would fulfill my need for perfume. Do you know what I mean? Because, because you'd have everything there. You know, you'd have the smelly, you'd have the nice stuff, and your needs would be
difficult to invent a scenario that couldn't be covered with one of those perfumes.
Yeah. But
I feel like that about Goutal. I think I could, if someone said One House for Life, I could easily just say, well, I'll just have Goutal. And then even if there are other things that I prefer, just in terms of that house, I've got something for every possible thing that might ever happen to me. It'd be fine.
Yeah.
I wouldn't die.
Well, hopefully none of us are going to die.
And what about the people around you, though? That would be, I'd be more concerned about you murdering the people around you.
Someone else is going to die.
I have no perfume. Get the axe out.
Yeah. Okay, so how about a shift of gear slightly? Let's talk about some new releasey type news. Hands up, everyone who's really excited for Aventus Absolute.
Oh, fuck off. Isn't this like really limited version, like bottles as well? So they're even like doing like a superficial availability.
It's limited to 10,000 bottles, which is basically enough to satisfy the batch wankers. But yeah, there's a guy on one of the perfume groups who works, I think, for Creed, and he's saying, yeah, they're talking about 10,000 bottle limited release, but actually, they will just
It'll
have
be another
more.
Roger Dove wearing it
first
with that one.
Haven't they done that really smart thing though with their marketing, where actually their marketing is like the batch?
Yeah.
Which I saw it and I was like, yeah. They literally, the marketing is just the batch number.
It is.
Oh.
They're like, wait for it, and then it's the batch number. And I saw that, and I thought, you fucking little cunts, you know exactly what you're doing. You smart. You have just dialed in right down to Brotown. Hello, it's Creed. I just thought you really. It's just like they've scraped the bottom of their own barrel, come up with a load of shite, and then they've just smeared it all over their own campaign. But they've come up smelling of roses. I think it's fucking audacious and brilliant at the same time. I love them and I hate them and I love them for it. They've just gone, you know what? Let's fucking do it just to write. Someone, you know, it'd be really funny if we just wrote the batch number. Yeah, it would. Oh, Tristan, I think you're onto something. And they've done it. They've fucking done it.
You know, they've been looking at the aftermarket for all the old, you know, Aventus batches and just fucking seething because they haven't been able to get a piece of that pie. And now they're just like, fucking we're going to have all of that
the
pie.
The irony is that if what they've done is re-released essentially their 2011 formula, or recreated an old.
They probably can't, though, because it's not IFRA compliant.
I
Is it?
don't think that's it. I just think it's incompetence and fucking. It's It's a combination of incompetence and sort of financial obsession. But if they could just re-release the 2011 formula and call it Absolute, then that would be an absolute money spinner for them. But what they're doing is apparently, I mean, as far as I can tell from the description, it's a almost completely different fragrance. It doesn't seem to be really. It seems to be.
Well, they're
quite
just
different.
trying to release a fragrance and just trade off the back of the Aventus name. I mean, I hate obviously stating the obvious, but
exactly.
Like that's what they've done, because they've tried other things and gone exactly like Ben's saying. They've missed out on all this other shit that's gone on. That's snowballed out of control. I mean, they've made a lot of money. Don't get me wrong, but so it is a totally smart move. And just to use, I mean, how many times can they do this now? Is it just going to be essentially Creed is just Aventus, the brand? Do you know what I mean? Are the other perfumes important? Do they matter?
Well, I think they. Yeah, I mean, they matter to me because most of the other ones are better than Aventus these days. I mean, I'm
not saying they're not. I'm just mean.
Well, I personally, Royal Mayfair.
That is the good one, yeah.
And Viking. It's fucking magic. For me, that is, I think, arguably the best Creed perfume. There's something just so brilliantly different and fucking off kilter about it, but yet so charming. I love that. It smells a bit like naphthalene, those sort of mothballs. The eucalyptus sort of smells like naphthalene, but is just so elegant, and I don't know. For me, it is the absolute king of summer perfumes. But I really like Viking. I think Viking is a sort of much maligned release. I think it's really very, very good.
Kind of guy, and I think that's quite pink peppery, isn't it?
Not really. No, it is exactly. And I first dismissed it as just purely a peppery sort of fragrance. But there's a whole there's a load of mint and I think like a cedar
it is a nice
going on in there.
I understand why you would like it.
I really like it, yeah. So for me, Creed would still be a really decent sort of fragrance house.
But so your average punter,
without Aventus,
they just say that Creed. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like that's all they know it as.
Yeah, yeah. And the word, it's like Hoover, isn't it? People sort of call Aventus Creed. What perfume do you like? Creed. Do you mean Aventus? I don't know, Creed. Why are they all Scousers? I just doing Scousers a massive disservice there. I think you started it, James, but
the reality is, though, that is like it's almost like they've been consumed by Aventus, isn't it? Because could you see them releasing a flanker of any of their other fragrances?
Well, they
like imagine Green Irish Tweed Cologne or Green Irish Tweed Elixir.
They did. There's an Aventus cologne and there's a Viking cologne. The Viking cologne is actually very pleasant indeed. I mean, it's a bit brief, but it's very pleasant. But I think Creed have some really good perfumes. Green Irish Tweed, I mean, I don't know who doesn't love Green Irish Tweed. Well, probably Fliss doesn't love it, but you don't, do you? You hate it. I can see it on your face.
Oh, it's all right. It's all right. I'm just not like, doesn't move.
No, fair enough. I mean, I think the only one that I really hate is that really peppery one
Royal Oud
that I can't remember the name of right now. Royal Oud, yeah.
I fucking hate that.
Grotesque. But lots of good perfumes, and I'm sure they will continue to be insanely profitable, even without Aventus Absolute. But Aventus Absolute does have a ring of financial cynicism about it. Although, as far as I can tell, like I say, it's a completely different fragrance. So will people just buy it because it says Aventus on the bottle?
But Creed have been recently bought and sold, right? And the people that bought it, what do you think they bought it for? They bought it to like cash in on that sweet Aventus train.
Yeah,
didn't they?
It's interesting. I mean, at some point, I think it'd be a fascinating case study because they were bought by BlackRock Capital, I think, who are just like a big fucking venture capital house.
Well, they don't like BlackRock basically own the world.
Probably, yeah. I mean, BlackRock and LVMH,
those,
between them, they own everything.
Yeah.
But I think, they bought it, and typically a venture capitalist firm will buy with a very specific kind of exit plan in mind. They don't tend to buy and then figure out their exit strategy later. So they will have bought it with a sort of plan to exit in, 3 years with a profit of X much by transforming the company in, these 7 different ways. They probably did that, executed on their plan, sold it, made a fucking fortune, and now the next bunch of people have to work out how they make a fortune. And Aventus Absolute is...
Caring.
Yeah.
So, February 2023, BlackRock bought Creed.
Sold.
No, sorry, February 2020, it was bought by BlackRock, and then BlackRock sold it in June 2023 to Curry.
Okay, so that was 3.5 years.
Now own it for BlackRock owned it for 3.5 years. Curry bought it in June for 3.5.
Do we know how much BlackRock paid?
Do you know what? I remember when it
Initially,
happened because it was only in 2020, and I remember the price being, I want to say it was nearly $1 billion.
Yeah, so they've tripled. If they've tripled it, they're smart,
Yeah.
aren't they?
Oh, they're definitely smart. Oh, if you want to make money, probably BlackRock, good company to follow. But but the next group of people, Curring, have to now make money, and Aventus Absolute seems like the one. So they're not.
So BlackRock bought it with a $8.75 million stake in Creed. So they've
there you go.
875 million,
just under $1 billion,
and they've sold it for 3.5 billion.
They'll be.
So they've done very nicely.
And all you wankers who bought all your fucking Creed Aventus at retail prices, that's what you've done. You've put $3 billion in BlackRock's pocket. Feel good about that.
Do we think that Aventus and Baccarat Rouge 540 are probably the 2 most ubiquitous fragrances now? Like that you see the Giga Chads and the Slags wearing. Like,
yes, add to that Professor Giga Chad. I love that. Add to that Professor Layton. And you're in business. Speaking of Professor Layton, Parfums de Marly also have a new release called Something.
It's good, that one.
That was well prepared.
Perfectly timed yawn. Yeah, and it's in like a diarrhea brown bottle, which is like really fucking peculiar choice.
Is it called diarrhea? I wouldn't be surprised.
I can't remember what it's called.
Altair.
Apparently that means diarrhea in Scandinavian or something.
In there, some kind of language.
Yeah, I don't know.
Bergamot, cardamom, orange, blossom, cinnamon.
Oh my god!
Oh, it sounds lovely.
It's another semi-gourmand.
I'm actually bored of this conversation. So, Parfums de Marly, nobody cares. What else? What else can we talk about? What has been surprising or interesting over the summer?
I tried Heaven Can Wait, the new mug.
Oh yeah,
and I think
really.
I think it really can. And I think you could probably wait in the bin.
Oh wow!
To be honest. I know.
I was really
disappointed.
Burn. Heaven Can Wait in the fucking bin.
I really wanted to like it. There's a first spray of those clove sweeties that you used to buy when we were little. Those stripy red and white ones that you used to buy by the £quarter. It smells like that, and then it just doesn't stop smelling like that. And the clove is really sneezy to begin with, and then it just dries down and it just continues to smell of those clove sweeties, and very sweety and musky, and it's just a bit weak and thin, and I felt like it was so almost interesting to start with, and then it just stopped being interesting and was just boring. And I'm a bit sad. I was a bit sad about it, really.
Who's it by? Is it Elena?
It's Elena, yeah. And I just find it, apart from the strength of the clove being really, really strong at the beginning and then just tapering off, the whole thing I find it really linear and
I don't really
dull.
associate clove as a sort of note that Elena works with a lot.
It didn't smell to me like it doesn't smell like an Elena to me.
It doesn't smell like an Elena Hermes, you mean?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, I was just a bit disappointed by it, and I just thought it was a bit.
This is the first time I've looked at them.
And that the name Heaven Can Wait, I was expecting like this beautiful,
heavenly,
I don't know, big, flowery, gorgeousy, voluptuous thing, and it just smelled of sweeties.
Sweeties.
Yeah,
you went all Margate there, but sweeter.
I did a little bit. It smells of quarter of a pound of clove
Oh,
balls.
gross. Go on, James.
I'm interested in it. Obviously, I knew about it, but I didn't know it was out. And obviously, I'm a big fan of the perfume and their brand. And looking at the notes, and actually, there's a comparison to L'Eau d'Hiver, which is a fragrance that I really like, which is another Mal made by Jean-Claude Elena, which you might think, okay, and he's just maybe put like a sort of cloves. And what I like is that there's carrot seed and ambrette, apparently. Now, whether you can detect those with a kind of musky, like vanilla-y iris and this clove thing, sounds interesting to me. But
I thought it sounded interesting, and I was excited, and then I stopped being excited after about 20 minutes of it being on me.
Well, yeah, I mean that could well be the case. I'm going to seek out some sample of some sort, but again, they're another brand that said just spray the perfume and then send it back. Like, you don't even have to, just spray it out the bottle. We don't care if it's used. And I'm like, no, that's such a waste. Why do I have to buy like a 50ml bottle or 100ml bottle or whatever, and then spray it and then send it back to you? It was fucking ridiculous, man. I mean, if they can afford to do that, I just think it's just wasteful to me. It seems odd, because what are they going to do with that?
Throw it out.
Well, maybe I use it as a tester. Maybe use it as a tester.
Just throw it in the bin.
This is interesting. I'm just reading a review of it on Fragrantica, and someone called Maisonnaise has said, ethyl maltol's burnt caramel sweetness smells so cheap with tons of cashmere, and it makes me nauseous. And I kind of was like, yeah, it smells quite... It smells like a slight... that all of those Baccarat Rouge-y, cloudy kind of sweet ambroxany things, it's kind of like a very much more sophisticated take on that, but with a clove top.
I wrote a review on Fragrantica today, actually, the first time in absolutely ages. I don't tend to write reviews there, but I wrote a review of Bodicea. Bodicea, Night of Love, it's called. Night of Love. And
I'm assuming there's a pun there, isn't there? Because it's not just a night of love.
It's a knight. It's Bodicea, Night of Love, and it retails for £700. And
that brand can really fuck off.
And my review was, well, actually, I've got something surprising to talk about on that. But my review was this. I'm still tickled by it. I'm one of these wankers who laughs at their own jokes, but I wrote, if you find Ormond Jane Montebaco to be too strong and too cheap, then buy this. Which is basically the fucking sum of it. It's just it's just Ormond Jane Montebaco, but weaker. And like 18 times more expensive. Just very fucking weird. But The reason I've been on a bit of a Bodicea mish recently is because, and I did a post about this on Instagram the other day, there are now 2 Bodiceas that I've got that I absolutely fucking love. Right, one of them is Amber Sapphire. I've had this for quite a while. I just love it. It's a sort of salty, almost like salt. It smells like salty sweet popcorn. It's kind of saline and saccharine at the same time. Just fucking amazing perfume. Love that. But more recently, Bodicea Harmonious, which is basically like a sort of a derivative of Dior Homme. But it's just it's got like a sort of cola-y sort of vibe to it as well. So you got the Dior Homme sort of woody iris kind of thing going on with a sort of slight Coca-Cola vibe. I absolutely fucking love that perfume. It's not original. It's very, very derivative, but it's derivative in such a perfectly brilliant way. So I now have 2 Bodiceas that I really love, but Night of Love, it's a strong no. It's like £700 for £100 perfume. It's just...
It's a canoe.
It's a Night of Canoe. Yeah, exactly. It is also, unfortunately, it's the same review that I wrote for Blue Satin by MDCI, which was along the lines of, you know, if you find that Aventus is too strong for you and isn't expensive enough, then buy Blue Satin.
Yeah, I mean, they have got some good ones, right? Don't get me wrong, but I just can't stand the brand. I mean, just looking here, did you know they released one called Bodacious which seems really obvious. Bodacious, dude. Yeah, in 2021. But I just think they've got so many releases.
25 years too late for Bodacious. Yeah,
there's only so many words in the fucking English language. Adoration, anguish, fucking... Do you know what I mean? It is like just going through the fucking dictionary.
Anguish.
Right? There's one called Anguish. They fucking well have. 2018 release, Anguish. It's a warm, spicy fucking saffron, jasmine, amberwood. Anyway.
I don't know if you want to be spraying.
No, exactly. Enthroned, empowered, bitterness, elegant.
Have you come across Tiger yet? So this is fucking... I swear to God, this is an act of marketing genius, right? So, are you familiar with Tiger by Bulgari, which is basically just very straightforward?
Le Gem.
Yeah, exactly. Le Gem, right?
Yeah.
So Bulgari Tiger. What Bodicea have done is release a clone of Tiger called Tiger. I shit you not. So literally, Tiger by Bulgari is spelled Tygar, and Bodicea have released a perfume called Tiger, spelled as in the animal, Tiger, and it's a clone of the Bulgari, and they sell it for, I think, £1,200 for a bottle.
See, what I don't understand about Bodicea, and we sort of mentioned about their pricing before we came on, didn't we, about them, how they sort of make their pricing up as they go along, but it feels like the whole brand is very scattergun. Like, they've got a bit of everything. They've even got a clone. Like, you know, like there's a self-aware clone there. But they've got a bit of... They've got some pretty rank stuff as well, but then they've got their, like, you know, the gourmand. They've got just... like, what is... Like, it's like, what is
exactly.
the Bodicea house?
Exactly. I mean, they're very... a very good one called Blue Sapphire, right, which I tried when it came out years ago. It's actually 2013, it says here. And I thought, yeah, this is a really good perfume. It's like £500 a bottle or something, so no way I'd ever fucking get it. But they've done a re-release one last year called Blue Sapphire Supercharged, which is just buying into the fucking supercar, like, kind of wankers who would fucking, you know, buy this shit. But they have got a good line, a whole line of really good ones. And I mean, because it's just a sprawling mass of... There's just so many perfumes. It's ridiculous. I can't even find them. They were called like roads in... Oh, here we go. They're at Bayswater, Chelsea, Greenwich, Hyde Park.
Oh, yeah.
Kings Road, Mayfair. Those ones are
Hill.
really... good. Not all of them, but some of them are they are very opulent, and they smell.
That whole range.
Yeah,
that whole range were in clearance at Harrods a few years ago for like 80 quid.
So they should be, because they were stupid money before that.
Well, of course they're stupid money. I mean, but they're as Ben was saying, their pricing policy is like fucking. How much is this one? Oh, this one's 200 quid. Why? I don't know. How much is this one? This one's £2,000. Why? We drawn a monkey on it. I don't know. It's so fucking stupid.
So their first edition, the first thing that they released was in 2008. They're still going now in 2023. They've got 172 fragrances in the base note in the Fragrantica or base notes catalogue. So 172 perfumes in 15 years.
So like a lot of successful brands, they've been acquired by finance houses. The people who run that brand these days are completely different to the lunatic Michael Bodie who set the fucking brand up in the first place. I mean, he is.
But that's 10 a year.
Well, there's 171,000 words in the English language, so they've got a few to
171,000? Is that right?
Roughly, there or thereabouts, yeah. So they've got a few more they can pump out between.
Just to completely change the subject and just say something that's just total bollocks that you'd be like, what? What are you on about? Just to preempt.
Go for it.
Do you know how many different possible Sudoku combinations there are that like yield a unique result?
It'll be something almost fucking infinite. It'll be billions.
It's unbelievable. It's more stars than are in the observable universe. It's like 6 sextillion fucking whatever billion. It's amazing, that, isn't it?
Yeah,
sorry, go on. Carry on about perfumes.
There's many perfumes.
Exactly. Which is exactly half the number of perfumes that Bodicea have released this week. The thing I said this I think about Alberto Morillas as well. Any brand or person that generates that many perfumes, the odds are they're going to have a few things in there that I absolutely fucking adore. And so I don't read too much into the fact that I found 2 Bodicea perfumes which have absolutely fucking, knocked me for 6. The third one that I got this week, which I got in a swap in fairness, but Night of Love is a ridiculous perfume. £600 for a fucking Ormond Jane clone just seems fucking mental beyond any sort of fucking rational behaviour.
Just Night of Love just sounds tacky as fuck
they're all,
as well. Is that just me that's feeling that like kind of slight cringe vibe? Or
it's basically, I mean, it conjures up the idea of a sort of guy in like full armour, maybe on the top half, but
that's
it's Night of Love. So imagine a guy in full armour but with perhaps a little porthole for his speaking of porthole, I've got a fragrance called Porthole by Lou Mari. And as every United fan will know, you can't think Lou Mari without thinking Lou Macari. But it was actually very nice indeed. Again, another sort of salty, sweet, sort of buttered popcorny type thing.
Sorry, porthole, salty, sweet. I just
you're having some kind of overload there.
Yeah,
I was still thinking of Night of Love.
No, you're disgusting, man. On the subject of Ormond Jane, which we weren't sort of on, but I was sort of talking about, Arabesque is their new one that launches on the 1st of October, and they very kindly sent me a bottle for review. And it's a whopper. It's like a proper Arabic rose oud a la kind of Ombre Nomad and the Dior one, Ispahan, that kind of vibe. It's a fucking whopper of a perfume, but done in that sort of slightly peppery, diffusive, Ormond Jane kind of house style. I think it will be a big hit, would be my guess. Yeah, so if you fancy a rose oud...
Have they really got anything like that? Like, I'm just trying to think, because they've got the Taif rose, they've got the oud on its own, which...
I don't know the oud one on its own. I mean, they've got the Nawab.
Nawab of oud.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, yeah. So, funnily enough, Josh... everyone knows Josh, but Josh reckoned that Arabesque had a little sort of whiff of Nawab of oud, in the base.
Right.
I didn't really get that. I think it is quite distinct from anything else they've ever done. They certainly have not done a big Arabic style rose oud like this before. And it was. But it's done in that sort of house style, which I think they've sort of refined a little bit. Like they did all the early stuff was by Geyser Schön, and then there was a period where they didn't have Geyser Schön, and then he came back for a few. And I think they've almost sort of like, almost like converged at some sort of midpoint, which is that all their perfumes, whether they're done by him or not, now have this kind of recognizable DNA that he obviously created. So I don't know whether it's by Geyser Schön, but
well, they started doing those like little bolt-on like things as if like what Geyser Schön does with his own brand. Well, the Molecules one. They would literally just like stick on like little bolt-on, like almost like a flanker, but like. And they did that a lot with oud, actually. So they'd put real oud in it, and you could smell instantly that it was real oud. But I kind of felt like it was a bit of an afterthought, like someone had just gone, okay, we've got this amazing oud material, let's just stick it in most of our perfumes, right? Just slightly to have a slightly cynical view of it. I don't think it was that, because it was still dead good. Like if you get like I don't think they did a Mon Tobacco with oud, but they did one of their well-known fragrances with oud, and it was like, okay, I get what's happening here, but I don't really know if it works as a composition, or rather than you've just gone, we've got this amazing oud material, let's just stick it in the perfume. And also, just to come back to something that you said before, so how do you manage to make a clone of Mon Tobacco, so actually talking about Mon Tobacco, by Boadicea, and make it weak? Right, because it's pretty fucking strong. It's like, how do you actually do that? Because they're quite minimal palette of like modern materials, if you like, and stuff and all that. How do you fuck that up and make it? I don't know.
I honestly don't know. I mean, it was funny because I got and that's probably a whole episode to itself, but I got one of those Harrods beauty calendar things the other week, and it had a little 30 ml bottle of Mon Tobacco Verano. So there's been a whole bunch of Mon Tobacco flankers, but they're all basically just Mon Tobacco with, as you say, the little bolt-ons. The Verano one has a sort of grapefruit bolt-on. Very nice. And I wore that just only a few days ago. And I remember thinking, fuck me, this is strong and durable, and this shit just goes on and on and on. And then I wore the Night of Love like 2 days ago, and I thought, oh, this smells exactly like Mon Tobacco. But I can't smell it after a few hours. Just like, I have no idea how they do this, but I think they just rely on... I guess they rely on selling like 7 bottles of this stuff, sell 7 bottles, we've made all our money back, it's happy fucking days. They probably only manufactured 30 bottles of this in the first place.
Well, maybe they think they take the formula, they do, whatever on it, or whoever evaluates it or looks at it does certain things where they go, okay, we're not going to use this because of price constraints or being able to get hold of that particular material or whatever it is. And they omit it to the point where it still kind of smells like that because you've got stuff in there in certain ratios, but it doesn't have everything that holds it together and makes it last and makes it be a full perfume. That's all I can think it must be.
Yeah. It's a madness. It's an absolute madness. So I am looking at the clock and thinking, I could really use a shower and a snooze. A shower.
That plasma off.
What, all that? Honestly, mate, my tattoo. Yeah, my tattoo is literally beginning to stink. So I need to go and wash this off. It's fucking It'll look nice. It will look nice on.
Oh, look lovely once all the plasma stops rotting in this heat.
I feel faintly queasy. So I would like.
Probably smells like half of my.
Yeah, I know. There's something you could probably extract here, Ben, for your delectation.
Slightly rotten, slightly medicinal.
Yeah.
It's right up your street.
Yeah, it's basically.
Let me sniff your arm.
Yeah, it's basically the C one from the Strange Love. Not Fall into Silence the Sea. Yeah,
Silence the
my
sea.
arm basically smells like that now, which is lovely. So yeah, it's been absolutely fucking brilliant. To get back to it, I'm so glad we are back in business and. Looking forward to getting, all of season 3 under the old belt. Any final thoughts before we fuck off, Fliss? I didn't mean fuck off,
really
Fliss. I meant
back.
before we.
No, I know. Well, maybe you did. Maybe you did.
You'll never know.
I'm just really pleased to be here. I'll hope so, won't I? I'm just really pleased to be back. Why? Why am I pleased? I don't know, Fliss. Why? I did miss you all.
You don't have to talk to yourself about perfume now. Now you got your friends. Your friends.
I've got my friends.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ben, final thoughts.
Have I done enough to be accepted into the Facebook group?
No.
Well, we find. Have you applied?
No, he hasn't.
And I put also Dan as my favourite.
Yeah. I set up an entrance question.
It's a strange poll, isn't it? Anybody who wants to join, just make sure you answer the polling question.
You have to answer a question. Yeah. Who is your favourite? And your options are Dan and also Dan. I mean, I'm not saying like I've won on the polling question, but I kind of have won. Excellent. Well, you will be admitted forthwith, but any reflections on the episode or anything you'd like to share, Ben?
Only that, to be honest, I'm just fucking glad that summer's over and done with. Like, I loved the sun, and this week, like, getting the reprisal of the heat was lovely, but at the same time, I was like, fuck, am I bored with fresh perfume?
God, yes. Give me fucking heavy, leathery, like, ambers and stuff. I am ready for fucking cooler weather.
I think we all second that, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely. James, final thoughts from you, sir?
No, I'm glad to be back. It's nice to see you all, and hopefully we can, do some really good episodes and talk about some cool perfumes and things. That's it. That's super duper. Yes, well, can confirm we will definitely be smashing some fucking cool episodes right out of the park over the coming weeks. We will, of course, be back in 2 weeks' time with the next episode of Les Oderants. Until that time, we wish you a very fond farewell. We'll speak to you soon on Les Oderants. Bye!
Bye.